Chapter 993. Are you sure? Lin Rei's heart trembled when he saw Xiaolu standing in front of him to protect him. It had been a long time since something like this happened. It could be said that the people in this world were all selfish, especially in the face of death. However, Xiaolu's actions had subverted Lin Rei's thoughts. In fact, there were still a few people in this world who had retained their original intentions. Run! Without looking at Lin Rei behind him, Xiaolu roared at him. Then, he turned into a ray of light and rushed out. He raised the broadsword in his hand and released all of his strength. At this moment, Xiaolu understood that if he didn't use all of his strength, not only would he die, even Lin Rei would have to accompany him. As a person who believed in promises since young, he had to complete the task given to him. Because, in his opinion, this was not only a task, but also his promise and responsibility. Beast, don't you dare! Xiaolu arrived in front of the demonic beast in a flash. He raised the broadsword in his hand and chopped at the beast's head. Boom! The sound of weapons colliding was heard. However, the broadsword that chopped at the demonic beast's body did not appear as Xiaolu had imagined. Blood splattering everywhere, flesh lacerating, none of these appeared. Not even a shallow cut was left behind. Thump! Xiaolu knew that he was in trouble this time. He hoped that if he encountered a powerful demonic beast, his broadsword would be able to cut the beast's skin. But now, not to mention cutting the beast's skin, not even a mark was left behind. Rather than saying that Xiaolu was killing the demonic beast, it was better to say that he was scratching an itch for the demonic beast. Roar! While Xiaolu was in a daze, a roar was released from the demonic beast's mouth. A fishy smell came out from the demonic beast's mouth and entered Xiaolu's nose. Oh no, retreat quickly. Xiaolu's first thought was to retreat. He understood that the difference between him and the demonic beast was like heaven and earth. There was no comparison at all. However, the moment Xiaolu turned around, he was stunned. At this moment, Lin Rei was still standing in the same place. He did not move a single step. Seeing this scene, Xiaolu's eyes suddenly surged with anger. Yaya, didn't I ask you to leave? Why are you still here? Seeing Xiaolu so angry, Lin Rei didn't get angry. Instead, he wanted to explain. Alright, you don't have to say any more. Seeing Lin Rei like this, Xiaolu hardened his heart and turned around to face the demonic beast that he couldn't deal with. As he turned around, Little Six's voice entered Lin Rei's ears. Hurry up and leave. This time, it's for real. If you leave, my chances will be higher. You'll only be a burden to me if you stay here. Hurry up. Go back the way you came. It's safer that way. Do you hear me? After saying that, Xiaolu faced the demonic beast again, but this time, Xiaolu did not rejoice like before. Instead, there was only worry, fear, and deep cowardice. He held the broadsword in his hand, but his entire hand was trembling. His body was trembling uncontrollably. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to return. He was afraid that he would never see his wife and children again. He was afraid that what would happen to his wife and children after he died. For Xiaolu's second provocation, the demonic beast's self-esteem really couldn't bear it. For the human in front of him, the demonic beast had already sentenced him to death. The huge figure quickly rushed forward and opened its mouth to swallow Xiaolu. The demonic beast's appearance was repulsive. Just looking at the demonic beast's face would scare people half to death. Die for me, die for me. Although he was afraid, if he didn't give it a try, he would never know whether a miracle would happen in the next moment. Unfortunately, even if Xiaolu gave it his all, the final result would still be the same. He would be sent flying or even killed by the demonic beast. Bang! A muffled sound was heard. Xiaolu, who was originally rushing forward, came back even faster. However, this time, he was sent flying back by the demonic beast. Bang bang, he flew back 100 meters, and the saber in his hand had long since fallen to the ground. His body was also sent flying 100 meters away, and he did not stop even after 100 meters. He only came to a complete stop in the end when the momentum disappeared. Pfff. A mouthful of old blood spurted out. His face instantly turned pale. He covered his chest with both hands. His internal organs were moved by the demonic beast's huge force. It was very uncomfortable. It was something he would never forget for the rest of his life. It's over. It's all over. Clutching his chest, Xiaolu raised his head and looked at the demonic beast that was walking towards him. His eyes were filled with despair. He knew that this time, he was powerless to reverse the situation. Lying on the ground powerlessly, he endured the pain in his internal organs and closed his eyes. A bitter smile appeared on his face. In his mind, all the memories he had with his wife and son flashed through his mind like a movie. Aoo, the demonic beast that Xiaolu had been waiting for arrived in front of him. It opened its mouth that was big enough to swallow Xiaolu in one gulp and lowered its head. Sigh, my life is over. Xiaolu sensed the smell coming towards him. He didn't know if it was because of fear or pain. Death was slowly approaching. Xiaolu had already prepared himself for death. Time passed by slowly. Xiaolu, who was waiting for death, didn't feel any pain coming from his body. Then, he opened his eyes subconsciously. The demonic beast was still there. However, the difference was that the demonic beast was no longer as arrogant as before. Its eyes were filled with deep fear. When Xiaolu saw this scene, his expression turned cold. A trace of doubt welled up in his heart. What's going on? The deep doubt made Xiaolu forget the pain in his body. He didn't understand why the demonic beast didn't eat him. Instead, it seemed to be afraid. He is my friend. Are you sure you want to touch him? At this moment, just as Xiaolu was feeling puzzled, a familiar voice sounded. This voice is... The familiar feeling in his heart made Xiaolu want to turn his head to investigate. However, when he moved his head, his internal organs were in so much pain that he grimaced in pain. He couldn't move. Aoo, as for the demonic beast, the moment it heard this sentence, it took a step back in fear. Its body was clearly trembling. Xiaolu was a sensible person. When he saw this scene, he understood that the huge demonic beast in front of him was not afraid of him, but the voice behind him. Xiaolu was sure that the demonic beast was afraid of the voice behind him. It was afraid, just like him. When he saw something stronger than him, Xiaolu would have the same situation. Alas, little guy, you'd better leave. Seeing that your cultivation is not easy, you should leave quickly. The familiar voice sounded again. This time, Xiaolu heard it clearly. This voice was Lin Rei's. Lin Rei didn't run away. Aoo, the next moment, a miracle appeared. The demonic beast, who was staring at Xiaolu, turned around and left the moment it heard Lin Rei's voice. It walked into the depths of the dense forest mountain range without any reluctance. Its speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, its huge body disappeared in front of Lin Rei and Xiaolu. Xiaolu was so shocked that he didn't speak. Are you all right? At this moment, Lin Rei's figure finally appeared in Xiaolu's sight. However, at this moment, Xiaolu looked at Lin Rei with a completely different expression than before. There was more respect, fear, and deep emotion in his expression. He really couldn't understand why Lin Rei was so strong. Facing such a powerful demonic beast, he only said a few words and it was scared away. What kind of strength was this? Why aren't you talking? Seeing Xiaolu's stunned expression, Lin Rei said. I didn't, just as he was about to say that he was fine, pain surged in his heart. His internal organs began to convulse. Huh, you're still saying that you're fine. With that, Lin Rei came to Xiaoliu's side, squatted down, and put his hand on Xiaoliu's chest. Suddenly, a warm current flowed from Lin Rei's palm into Xiaoliu's body and began to investigate. It's quite serious. I didn't expect that little guy to be so ruthless. If I knew, I would have kept him as your compensation. Stretching out his hand, he sucked at the tree beside him. A green light slowly separated from the tree. The leaves of the tree that was separated from the green light began to turn yellow. Slowly, the entire tree began to emit a deathly aura. In the end, the tree completely lost its original vitality. Lin Rei's hand was also holding a ball of green light that was filled with vitality. Looking at the green light in his hand, Lin Rei nodded with satisfaction. It should be able to heal your injuries in the end. With that, without waiting for Xiaoliu's response, the hand with the green light directly pressed on Xiaoliu's chest. The moment Lin Rei's hand touched him, Xiaolu felt the pain in his body slowly diminish. With this kind of shock, time passed bit by bit. In the end, more than 10 minutes had passed. Xiaoliuzi, who was originally grimacing in pain, was now sitting up straight. Except for his tattered clothes, he was basically uninjured. It doesn't hurt anymore. It really doesn't hurt anymore. Feeling that the injuries in his body had healed, he felt that his strength had increased a lot. His body was also more flexible and relaxed than before. Your injuries have healed. Looking at the excited expression on Xiaoliu's face, Lin Rei withdrew his hand. A smile appeared on his face, and he said, "Now let's continue. After all, the mission this time is to hunt and store food. Moreover, I just settled in Huanglian village. There is nothing at home. If I can finish all the things here in one go, that would be great." This was Lin Rei's truest thought. Right now, there was nothing at home. There were no vegetables, no meat. If it wasn't for the fact that they didn't need to eat these things, they would have starved to death. No problem. My brother-in-law will remember your life-saving grace. There is anything you want in this Yunxi mountain range. I believe that after 7 days, when we leave, I will definitely find all the things you need. Trust me. Good. The two looked at each other, and then began to wantonly plunder the Yunxi mountain range. As for Xiaolu, because of what happened just now, he didn't dare to stay with him. Even though he knew that Lin Rei might be very strong, in the end, he couldn't win against Xiaolu. In the end, the two left the place where the demonic beasts were strong. After the two came to the periphery, Xiaolu basically dealt with all the demonic beasts they encountered. On the way, Lin Rei wanted to help several times, but he was stopped by Xiaolu in the end. The reason was that Lin Rei saved him. Now, he could still do such a small thing. For this reason, Lin Rei was really helpless. But for Xiaoliu's insistence, Lin Rei finally compromised. 5 days passed in 7 days. In these 5 days, Xiaolu killed a total of 2 demonic beasts, like 6 wild beasts, and countless wild vegetables. There were a few times when they met the villagers of Huanglian village, but they didn't talk and just hurried away. Lin Rei didn't care too much about this, but a trace of disappointment flashed across Xiaoliu's face. In this regard, Lin Rei shook his head helplessly. There was no other way. Since Xiaolu chose him, he had to accept this. As for Xiaolu who chose him, Lin Rei couldn't let him suffer, especially after what happened before. Lin Rei regarded Xiaolu as his friend. Looking at the full things in his hands, Xiaolu was distressed. It's only been 5 days, and I can't take it anymore. I can't go out hunting for the next 2 or 3 months, and these things are not enough. Yes, indeed, Lin Rei agreed with Xiaoliu's distress. Looking at the things in his hands, Lin Rei wanted to put them in his storage ring, but once he did so, his peaceful life would be disturbed. After thinking for a while, he finally came up with an idea. He looked up at Xiaolu and said, "Keep an eye here. I'll be back soon. Maybe we can go home earlier." Then, without waiting for Xiaoyou's response, he turned around and rushed into the depths of the forest. In a flash, he disappeared from Xiaoyou's sight. Seeing Lin Rei's action, Xiaolu wanted to stop Lin Rei on the spot, but what about his prey? He believed that if he left, his prey would be gone by the time he came back. They would either be eaten by wild beasts or taken away by people from his village. He looked up at the place where Lin Rei left, and deep worry appeared on his face. "I hope he's okay." As he spoke, he recalled what he had encountered when he first entered the Yunxi mountain range. His worried heart relaxed a little. At this moment, Lin Rei sped up a little after separating from Xiaolu, and returned to the depths of the forest at a speed of 100 meters per step. "Awoo, beast roars came from the depths of the forest." Hearing these sounds, a smile appeared on his face. "I need to find a big one. It's best if it can eat for 1 or 2 months." Lin Li's goal was very clear. Stepping forward, he swept the surrounding area with his gaze, beginning to investigate this forest. At this moment, the demonic beasts in the forest didn't know that they had been targeted by an extremely powerful existence. There was no other reason than that they wanted to eat meat. Chapter 994. Awu. In front of a cave, a mountain-like demonic beast was originally lying on the ground and taking a nap. As a demonic beast in the forest, it was very comfortable to lie on the ground and bask in the sun. However, just as the demonic beast was enjoying this kind of time, its body suddenly changed, and its hair stood on end. It suddenly raised its head in shock, and its expression was full of horror. "Ah, I didn't expect a little demonic beast to be so vigilant. I didn't expect the emperor to be able to detect it even though he had suppressed his cultivation to this extent." In the dark, looking at the demonic beast's reaction, Lin Rei guessed the demonic beast's thoughts. However, Lin Rei was a little curious about this point. After all, with his current cultivation, to be able to accurately detect his location, one's cultivation must be very strong. At the very least, it must be much stronger than Lin Rei's cultivation to be able to do it. However, this low-level demonic beast in front of him was able to do it. This aroused Lin Rei's interest. Taking a step forward, he no longer hid and walked out from the dark. Step by step, he came in front of the demonic beast. "Awu!" A mournful roar came out from the demonic beast's mouth. Its expression was full of horror and fear, and its body involuntarily took a few steps back. It wanted to distance itself from Lin Rei. The demonic beast understood Lin Rei's strength and also felt the murderous aura that was faintly emitted from Lin Rei's body. It understood that it would be difficult for it to escape today. "Awu!" With a plop, the demonic beast directly knelt on the ground. Its huge head kept nodding, as if it was begging Lin Rei to let it go. "Ah, I didn't expect a low-level demonic beast like you to understand so well." Looking at the demonic beast, to be honest, Lin Rei was really reluctant to kill it. After all, to be able to have such a special ability, it would definitely be extraordinary in the future. However, for the demonic beast in front of him, Lin Rei had already examined it. If it wanted to break through to a higher realm, it would be impossible. There was a congenital defect in the body. Coupled with the fact that there was no treatment in time, the defect had grown to a terrifying level. Therefore, Lin Rei felt very sorry about this. However, he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't make a breakthrough. His Taoist foundation had been damaged. So, it was impossible for him to recover. Even though Lin Rei had entered the Sage realm, it was still very difficult for him to recover from this painful injury. "Awu!" It kept begging Lin Rei for mercy. But in Lin Rei's eyes, the demonic beast's actions were useless and pale. You know the condition of your body. Rather than exhausting your life force here, you might as well transcend as soon as possible. It's done. Your huge body is exactly what I need. So, sleep peacefully. Maybe something different will happen when you close your eyes. Yi Shiwen didn't wait for the demonic beast to respond. He raised his hand and pressed it on the demonic beast's huge head. His arm exerted a little force and pushed the demonic beast's head into the ground. Bang! A burst of dust rose. Lin Rei's hand didn't stop there. He punched the demonic beast's head again. Bang! Another punch. Lin Rei didn't continue. He could feel that the demonic beast's vitality had disappeared. This meant that the demonic beast had died. Alas, it's a pity. Maybe the Emperor would have taken you as his subordinate if you didn't have such a congenital condition. A look of pity appeared on his face. What he had said was true. To be able to see Linley, who was hidden in the darkness, with a single glance, this ability alone was enough to excite Linley. The dust dispersed. The demonic beast's corpse appeared in front of Lin Rei. Lin Rei nodded with satisfaction as he looked at its huge body. There was a trace of a smile on his face. This should be enough, right? Yi Shiwen reached out and grabbed the demonic beast's upper hind leg. Then, he exerted a little force and lifted the demonic beast's body. Lin Rei was even more satisfied when he felt the demonic beast's weight. Let's go home. Linley believed that with this monstrous beast's body, today, he would be able to go home. Thinking of his wives waiting for him at home, Lin Rei couldn't wait any longer. Although he knew that his two wives were powerful, he was still a little worried. As he was worried, Lin Rei unconsciously increased his speed. He was twice as fast as before. In just a few minutes, he appeared in front of Xiaolu. Seeing Lin Rei's sudden appearance and the powerful demonic beast on Lin Rei's body, Xiaolu was stunned on the spot. His face was filled with fear. He even began to stammer when he spoke. What's wrong? Looking at Xiaolu's expression, Lin Rei was surprised. Then, he continued, take a look. Can this demonic beast's corpse last for 2 to 3 months? Xiaolu was speechless. Silence. After Lin Rei finished speaking, Xiaolu didn't respond at all. He lifted his head in a daze and stared at the demonic beast on Lin Rei's back. The shock in his heart was indescribable. Hey, did you hear what I said? Do you think this demonic beast is okay? Can it go home? Lin Rei spoke again. This time, Xiaolu came back to his senses and quickly replied. This demonic beast is so powerful. Not to mention 2 to 3 months, it can even last for 7 to 8 months. The shock in his expression didn't recede. Okay, then, let's go. There's nothing else that we need here. As for the rest, we'll get them the next time we come. Lin Rei said and carried Lunatic outside. Along the way, he was afraid that Xiaolu wouldn't be able to carry so many things, so he reached out to carry a few more powerful demonic beast corpses. For this reason, Xiaolu wasn't willing. After all, the demonic beast's corpse on Lin Rei's back was heavy enough. If he were to carry it, but in the end, not only did Lin Rei carry it, but he also walked so fast that even Xiaolu couldn't catch up in time. Oh my god! Why would someone like him want to settle down in our village? Could it be that he's being hunted by his enemies? Looking at Lin Rei, who could still walk as though he was flying while carrying the demonic beast, Xiaolu couldn't help but mutter to himself. As for Xiaolu's thoughts, Lin Rei didn't know. At this moment, he only had one thought in mind, and that was to go home. Time passed little by little. They didn't go deep, so they soon returned to the entrance of Yinshi mountain range. As soon as they left the mountain range, the rotten smell, the stench, and the smell of rotting corpses disappeared in an instant. Only the smell of grass and flowers remained. Phew, comfortable. Arriving at the entrance, Lin Rei took a deep breath with the demonic beast on his back. After exhaling the turbid air in his mouth, the smile on his face became wider. Phew, phew, after a while, the sound of rapid breathing could be heard. Lin Rei turned around and saw all kinds of things hanging on Xiaoliu's body. There were demonic beasts and wild vegetables. It looked very funny. Oh my god. Lin Rei, why are you so fast? Why didn't you wait for me? I'm so tired. Plop, plop. After saying that, all the things on his body fell to the ground. He directly sat on the ground without caring about his image. He was panting like crazy and the flush on his face slowly faded. Seeing him like this, Lin Rei was stunned. Only then did he remember that Xiaolu was an ordinary person. It was already very good that he could carry so many things and keep up with him. Thinking about this, Lin Rei directly put the demonic beast on the ground and then sat on a stone to wait quietly. Time passed little by little, but there was still no one at the entrance of Yunxi mountain range. It seemed that they were still hunting. At this moment, the flush on Xiaoliu's face had completely faded and his breathing had also returned to normal. He got up and came to Xiaoliu's side and said, "Let's go. If you can return home without rest this time, I promise you that I will give you a good fortune." After saying that, he pointed at the demonic beast and said, "Do you see it? That fortune will give you the ability to deal with this kind of existence." Swoosh. Hearing Linli's words, Lil Six immediately stood up from the ground, his face filled with excitement. "Really? Yes, really." Understanding Xiaoliu's thoughts, Lin Rei continued, "I promise you, but you have to achieve the results I want. Otherwise, the conditions just now will be considered null and void." Hearing this, Xiaoliuzi thought for a long time in silence. Finally, he showed a determined look and nodded. "Okay, in that case, I'll do it. It's just that I can't rest for a moment when I get home." After saying that, he lowered his body and picked up all the things on the ground. Then, without waiting for Lin Rei, he strode toward the road home. He understood that even if he didn't wait for Lin Rei, he would be able to catch up and even be surpassed. I am looking forward to your hard work. I just don't know if it will be as you wish in the end." Shaking his head, he once again carried the demonic beast on his body and strode toward Xiaolu. "You guys, this time, with so little things, we might not be able to last for 2 to 3 months. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. The demonic beasts in the periphery are nowhere to be found. Those demonic beasts that are slightly stronger and have their own territories are also gone. This is really weird, that's right. I don't know what exactly happened here. If this happens for a long time, damn it, we will have to find a new hunting ground." Sigh, everyone looked at each other and sighed. Their faces were filled with helplessness and bitter smiles. They were helpless and couldn't do anything about this. Regarding this, Lin Rei didn't know. Not long after he left, these people walked out of Yunxi mountain range. Each of them was holding a medium-sized demonic beast in their hands. Perhaps they didn't know that this phenomenon that they were talking about had a lot to do with Lin Rei. When Lin Rei and Xiaolu entered Yunxi mountain range for the first time, they encountered a powerful demonic beast. After Lin Rei released Xiaolu and Xiaolu began to inform their friends to quickly leave and hide in the depths of Yunxi mountain range. After all, there was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. Other than the demonic beast's roars, there was no other way to transmit information between demonic beasts. The news of experts entering Yunxi mountain range spread throughout the demonic beast's territory. That was why the demonic beasts scattered and headed toward the depths of Yunxi mountain range. It was also because of this that they couldn't hunt any prey. However, Lin Rei was completely unaware of this. At this moment, he was running with Xiaolu. Finally, the two of them arrived at the entrance of the village before the sky turned dark. This time, the two of them could be said to be extremely fast. Originally, it would take them a day, but now, it only took them half a day to return to the village. Even Xiaolu himself was a little surprised by this speed. Huff, huff, finally. Finally, we're almost there. Good fortune. I, Xiaolu, can also become a person who can punch demonic beasts. Thinking about it, his originally tired body instantly became energetic. He felt that he could run back and forth from Yinshi mountain range again. Seeing Xiaolu stop, Lin Rei said, "Hee, that's enough. You should hurry up and leave. Otherwise, if you don't complete my request, then you won't have a chance to obtain that good fortune." Oh. Right. Lin Li's words woke Xiaolu up. He didn't stay any longer. Dragging his tired body, he walked into the village step by step. Behind him, Lin Rei didn't pay attention to him. He didn't want the villagers to see the things on his body. Otherwise, it would cause another commotion. When there was no one around, Lin Rei's figure began to fade. In an instant, he disappeared from the spot as if he had never appeared. In the village, Xiaolu carried a mountain of game and became the focal point of the whole village. Originally, everyone was cooking at home, but when they heard the noise outside, they put down what they were doing and walked out. When they saw the things on Xiaolu's body, everyone was shocked. "Xiaolu, did you hunt all these?" "Yes, why did you come back alone?" "Where are the others? Why didn't they come with you?" Yes, where's my father? Where's my brother? Where's my husband?" For a moment, everyone realized that only Xiaolu came back. Their husbands and children didn't come back. Instantly, everyone was in an uproar. With fear and uneasiness, they looked around in panic as if they wanted to find their husband and son. In the end, they couldn't find them. As for little Six, he had yet to fulfill his promise to Lin Li. Thus, little Six naturally didn't pay any attention to the chatter of the crowd. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to return home as soon as possible. Then, he would unload all of the items he had on him, complete his accumulation, and succeed in obtaining that piece of good fortune. Persevere, just a bit more, just a bit more, just a bit more, as he thought to himself, his vision started to blur and his head started to hurt. At this moment, all kinds of discomfort surged out. Ta, step by step, Xiaolu's footsteps became heavier and heavier. It was as if they were filled with lead. It was so heavy that he started to doubt his life. On the other hand, in the empty space in front of the Lin family's door, a figure suddenly appeared dragging a huge object. Husband. Husband is back. Chapter 995. Inside the house, the two women instantly sensed the abnormality outside the door. It was caused by their husband, Lin Rei, who had been away from home for a long time. Sensing their husband's wife, the two women suddenly stood up and disappeared from the room. "Didn't I tell you not to use your cultivation?" At the door, he sensed the changes in his surroundings. He looked forward and said indifferently, "I know. Aren't we happy to see you?" At this moment, the two women's voices came from Lin Rei's side. In the next moment, Bing and Ing suddenly appeared on both sides of Lin Rei. They looked very excited. They did not care about the blood on Lin Rei's body and directly reached out to hold Lin Rei's arm. They kissed it and did not want to let go for a moment. You, seeing the two women like this, Lin Rei was stunned. "You. Aren't you afraid of being dirty? Look at my body. I don't want to dirty your clothes. Hurry up and get up, hurry up." As he spoke, he tried to break free from the two women's hands. "Huh? You?" He wanted to break free from the two women's arms, but this time, Lin Rei found that he could not break free. He released his divine sense and sensed the aura and cultivation of the two women. Suddenly, a trace of shock appeared in Lin Rei's eyes. Sage Realm. Peak Dao Fruit Saint Realm. Your cultivation. Sensing that the two women's cultivation had reached the Peak Dao Fruit Saint Realm, Lin Rei suddenly felt that his cultivation was not enough. Hee, how is it? Are you surprised from time to time? Seeing the shock in their husband's eyes, the two women felt happy. Yes, it's a surprise. I'm stunned. Looking at the two women, Lin Rei suddenly remembered that they were still tied to him. As long as he broke through to the Saint Realm, their cultivation would directly break through to the Peak Dao Fruit Saint Realm. Thinking of this, Lin Rei felt slightly relieved. Thinking that this was all thanks to him, Lin Rei felt much better. He, the two women laughed. They laughed very happily because this was praise from their husbands. Seeing the happy smiles on the two women's faces, Lin Rei smiled and said, "All right, let's go in quickly. Otherwise, if this thing on my body is seen, I'm afraid our family's reputation will be ruined." As he spoke, he walked forward. As for the two women, they kept holding on to Lin Rei's arm and did not let go. At first, Lin Rei still tried to persuade them, but after seeing that it was useless, he finally gave up completely. They could do whatever they wanted. In any case, it was time to change their clothes. After all, they didn't look that good with some patches. If it weren't for accompanying him in this kind of life, the two girls probably wouldn't wear such clothes. Bang! With a muffled sound, the giant demonic beast that he was carrying fell to the ground. Suddenly, dust flew up and the earth began to tremble. Even the houses began to tremble and collapse. Feeling everything around him in a mess, Lin Rei was stunned and a touch of guilt appeared. The originally clean house was now like this because of him. It's okay, it's not too late to clean it up later. The most important thing is to dissect the demonic beast and put it away. Don't let others see it. At the side, Ying understood Lin Rei's meaning and immediately said, "Yes, husband, let's hurry up and dissect the demonic beast. There's nothing in the house these days. I haven't eaten for a long time." As she spoke, Bing couldn't help but stroke her stomach with her hand as if she was starving. Looking at the demonic beast in front of him, Lin Rei nodded and a dagger appeared in his hand. In an instant, he released his divine sense. Suddenly, the demonic beast clearly appeared in Lin Rei's mind. What bones, meridians all appeared in Lin Rei's mind. Looking at the scene in his mind, he curled his lips and began to dissect the demonic beast with his blade. The light of the blade and the shadow of the sword flashed in the small courtyard. How should it be said, there was no rain of blood, no flashes of blood, and no bloody scene. There was only handsome movement and smooth cutting. Time passed little by little. In a short period of time, the giant demonic beast was cut into pieces by Lin Rei with a small dagger. As for the blood of the demonic beast, Lin Rei had already sealed it in a special jar when he cut it open. Pieces of sparkling and translucent meat, bottles of blood that glowed like rubies, and huge bones all appeared in the small courtyard at this moment. Looking at the results in front of him, Lin Rei's face was full of smiles. In a while, put a part of the meat into a storage ring. As for the other part, you can distribute it to the villagers. As for the bones, you can directly make bone soup. Hearing this, Shadow and Ice drooled from the corners of their mouths. They looked like gluttons. Looking at them, Lin Rei was stunned and then smiled bitterly. He rolled up his sleeves and reached for a few big bones and a piece of meat, then walked toward the kitchen. Seeing this scene, Shadow and Ice laughed and began to get busy according to Lin Rei's instructions. In the village, in Xiaoliu's house, Xiaolu was lying on the bed at this moment. His face was flushed and his body was covered in sweat. He was completely exhausted. As for the prey he carried back, it was now placed in front of him. However, the scene was not as good as Lin Rei's. Xiaoliu's house was dripping with blood. The whole courtyard was filled with the smell of blood, which was disgusting. On the other hand, passers-by pinched their noses because the smell was too disgusting. The smell of blood was so disgusting that it made them feel very uncomfortable. Although the courtyard smelled bad, there was indeed a sea of people at the moment. Not for anything else, but for little Six to come back alone with such a huge amount of meat. This made everyone very puzzled. They didn't understand why little Six came back alone with such a huge amount of demonic beast meat and wild vegetables. As for the previous misunderstanding, Xiaolu explained it to everyone one by one after he returned home and sat on the bed. Thinking about this, everyone was amazed. Thinking back to the previous fear, they felt that they would never feel the same again in this lifetime. After knowing that their husband and child were fine, the parents began to praise Xiaoliu's parents, wife, and child. They praised Xiaoliu's parents for giving birth to a good son who was so capable and sensible. They praised Xiaoliu's wife for choosing a good husband who would dote on her. This praise made Xiaoliu's parents, wife, and child feel a little unreal. But thinking about what he had done, he felt relieved. At this moment, he didn't care about what these people said. What he wanted to know the most now was whether he passed the test and when he would be able to obtain the creation and become a powerful person. However, he was powerless. He wanted to stand up and go to Lin Rei's place. He wanted to get Lin Rei's approval and obtain his creation. But it was a pity that his body wasn't under his control at all. Other than his spiritual consciousness being under his control, he couldn't do anything else. Perhaps because he was too tired, he felt annoyed when he heard the chatter outside. However, he couldn't go overboard in the village, so in the end, he could only ignore them and sink into his thoughts. Seeing her husband's actions, his wife, Xiao, understood. She immediately went to the courtyard and said to the women of the village, "Everyone, I'm sorry. My husband is too tired right now. If you talk here, you'll disturb him, so please leave first. When my husband wakes up, we'll visit you one by one." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They quickly came back to their senses and apologized before leaving. Seeing his wife's actions, Xiaoliu's heart was filled with happiness. With a wife like this, what more could a husband ask for? At the eastern end of the village, in Linley's house, the aroma of food wafted out of the room. Shadow and Ice, who had been waiting outside for a long time, smelled the aroma, and their mouths twitched. Saliva began to drip from their mouths. At this moment, the two women didn't seem like experts at all. If the saints of the holy world saw two Dao fruit saints like this, they would probably be stunned. "Aya, husband's food smells so good. Really, I want to rush in and snatch it right now." On the side, hearing Bing's words, Ying subconsciously nodded in agreement. "Yeah, it seems like we can only leave this to husband in the future. Otherwise, just the two of us making food. Aya, I can't even bear to open my mouth." "Yes, I agree. Really, husband's food is so delicious. In the future, the kitchen will be husband's. We just need to be responsible for eating." At this time, after changing his clothes, Lin Rei was not in a hurry to eat, and he did not have the appetite. After all, as a person who would never be hungry, eating was at most to satisfy the desire for good food. After getting dressed, he walked out of the door, ignoring his wife, but walked out of the house alone in the direction of Xiaoliu's. This time, Lin Rei wanted to fulfill his promise. He admired Xiaoliu's perseverance when he returned home from Yunxi mountain range in one go. Coupled with Xiaoliu's nature, no matter what, Lin Rei wanted to help him. Releasing his divine awareness to investigate Xiaoliu's behavior at home at this moment, Lin Rei smiled. This was what he thought. After all, Xiaoliu was carrying so many things, it would be unreasonable if he did not do this. In this regard, Lin Rei could only smile. At this moment, there was only Xiao Liuzi in the room. As for his wife and son, Lin Rei did not know. His figure flashed and came to Xiao Liuzi's door. Without knocking, he directly pushed the door open and entered. "Who is it?" Xiao Liuzi, who was originally sleeping soundly, heard the door being violently pushed open, and woke up with a start. However, at this moment, he could not use any strength at all. In the end, he could only roar. However, this roar was so weak. Coupled with Xiao Liuzi's pale appearance at this moment, it seemed that Xiao Liuzi was terminally ill. "It's me. Don't be nervous." Looking at Xiao Liuzi, Lin Rei smiled. His figure flashed and came to his side. Looking at how weak Xiao Liuzi was, Lin Rei shook his head. "Alas, why are you like this? If you really can't do it, just stop. Look at you now, you can't say that." Hearing Lin Rei's words, Xiao Liuzi was stunned. Then, he interrupted and retorted, "The demonic beast we encountered before was so powerful. I thought I could protect you, but in the end, I was protected by you. This time, it's fine because you are here. What if next time? What if my wife and parents face the persecution of demonic beasts next time? I don't dare to imagine this. If I am still like this at that time, let alone saving them, I can't even get away. How can I save them?" Seeing the resolute look on Little Six's face, Linley was startled, but then he understood. He had made a joke like this in the past, but now he had succeeded. He had succeeded in becoming the person who would protect his family, friends, and brothers. Chapter 996. He understood the feeling of not being able to protect his family. Looking at Little Six, Lin Rei admired him even more and wanted to help him even more. He nodded and said, "All right, it might hurt a bit later. If you can't help it, just scream." I know. Don't worry, in order to become the person I want to be, in order to become the person who can protect my family, I'm not afraid of anything." When Little Six said this, his expression was filled with determination. It was as if he would not regret it even if a knife was placed against his neck. This was what Lin Rei wanted to see. After all, he had seen Little Six's performance before, so he believed that Little Six could do what he wanted. Seeing that Little Six had made up his mind, Lin Rei did not waste any more words. He used his divine sense to communicate with the system and said, "System, exchange for a body-tempering pill." Body-tempering pills were something that could be consumed during body tempering. Needless to say, it would allow cultivators to break through faster and faster in the body-tempering realm without any side effects. Ding, please note that the host is exchanging for a low-level item. The host is exchanging for none. Damn! Hearing the system's notification, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. He thought that the system was omnipotent, but he did not expect the system to discriminate against low-level items. It did not even give him a small body-tempering pill. Lin Rei looked up at Little Six, who was ready and had closed his eyes. He hesitated. He wanted to say that he could not, but when he thought of the excitement on Little Six's face, Lin Rei gave up. Forget it, it should be fine to use my cultivation to help Little Six cleanse his meridians, right? Lin Rei thought to himself as he looked at Little Six. No problem, of course not. However, if you do this, Little Six's outcome will be perfect. The little dragon's voice sounded. What do you mean? Nothing, I just want to say that if you use your spirit chi to help Little Six, he can enter the cycle of reincarnation and start over. Perhaps that outcome will be much better than now. Perhaps when he reincarnates again, he can enter a very good realm and the family he reincarnates with might be a powerful cultivator family. Linley understood Xiaolong's words. After carefully thinking about it, Xiaolong's words were indeed true. He had already broken through into the sage realm. Although his cultivation and spiritual aura had become much gentler after entering the sage realm, it still wasn't something that an ordinary person could bear. As he thought about it, he broke out in a cold sweat. If it wasn't for the little dragon's reminder, little Six might have already been blown to smithereens by his own energy. Suddenly, a hint of guilt appeared. He didn't think that he would still be so frivolous despite having such a strong opinion. If he had thought about it beforehand, perhaps the result would not have been like that. Sigh, he exhaled, and a disappointed expression appeared on his face. In response, the little dragon in the system looked at Lin Rei and shook its head helplessly. It could not bear to say anything. "All right, look at you. Hee hee." When Lin Li heard Xiaolong's words, the dejected look on his face disappeared and was replaced by a look of satisfaction as if he had succeeded in his scheme. "You brat." Seeing Lin Rei like this, the little dragon couldn't help but laugh and scold him. "I knew you wouldn't be so obedient. So you were waiting for this?" How could that be? Little dragon, you're so kind. How could you leave me in the lurch, right?" Lin Li's kind words of flattery came out of his mouth. But in the face of Lin Li's flattery, little dragon seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. Lin Rei didn't say anything. He would let the little dragon be narcissistic for a while. Anyway, it was fine as long as he achieved his goal. A few minutes passed. Lin Rei waited quietly for a few minutes before he finally spoke. "All right, hurry up and tell me what you can do." Little Six had been waiting. He was afraid that Little Six would get anxious from waiting, so he looked at the little dragon and asked anxiously. "Sigh." Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon sighed and said, "You brat, you're still Master Dan. You can't even solve such a small matter." An awkward expression flashed across his face. To be honest, he really didn't expect that even though he had Master Dan's strength now, he still wouldn't be able to solve this problem. "Sigh, you," seeing Lin Rei's deflated expression, the little dragon sighed and said, "Body forging grass, you brat. You actually forgot the most basic of herbs. Looks like I have to find a chance to let you review it again. Otherwise, you'll really forget about it." "Hiss, you're right. Body forging grass can indeed achieve the effect I want." The little dragon's answer enlightened Lin Rei. Body forging grass, body forging grass. How could I forget about this thing, really? Thinking about it, Lin Rei couldn't help but slap his forehead. His face was full of shame. "After this matter is over, go to the scripture pavilion and stay there. If you don't reach a level that I'm satisfied with, you're not allowed to come out. Do you hear me?" I don't want that." Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei's expression turned bitter. He looked unwilling. Actually, it wasn't that he didn't want to, but the mission he received before was to complete the 10,000 sect worshipping in 20,000 years. If he was locked up by the little dragon, then wouldn't he be delayed from completing the mission in 20,000 years? This matter is not up for discussion. At this moment, how could the little dragon think that Lin Rei could forget the most basic medical knowledge? That made him angry. Just as he was about to speak, the little dragon's voice disappeared. Regarding the little dragon's departure, Lin Rei only wanted to say, "I really don't want to, didn't I forget in a moment?" Of course, in the end, he could only think about this in his heart. As for whether the little dragon heard him or not, he was very clear. Although the little dragon usually listened to him, for some things, even if he was the little dragon's host, it was useless. Sigh. I didn't think that because of this matter, I'd get myself into trouble, really. Thinking about it, Lin Rei felt very helpless. How good would it be if he remembered? If he had remembered earlier, then there wouldn't have been any later matters. With a sigh, Lin Rei rummaged through the storage ring. He was angry that there were still many storage rings from low-level planes that he didn't check. However, What gave Lin Rei a headache was that at this moment, there was a mountain of storage rings in front of him. Looking at these storage rings, Lin Rei felt very proud, because these were all his spoils of war, from low-level planes all the way to where he was now. Naturally, this wasn't all of it, the majority had been given to him and the sect. Damn, how am I supposed to find it? Looking at the storage rings in front of him, Lin Rei felt a headache. If he had known that such a day would come, he definitely wouldn't have stacked these things together. Rumble, rumble, a shadow quickly flashed and rushed in, starting to search. 10 minutes, 2 hours, a day passed, just like that, a day passed. Lin Rei was naturally on his way to search. As for little Six, because he had waited for a long time and was already very tired, he fell asleep while waiting. As for little Six's family, they knew that little Six was too tired, and they were also dealing with the prey that little Six had brought back, so they simply didn't have the time to pay attention to him. They had already said that there would be heavy rain for 2 to 3 months, so they wanted to prepare these prey in the shortest time possible and dry them to prevent the flesh from rotting. And this would help Lin Rei. If they came back and saw Lin Rei, that wasn't something they wanted to see. Within the system, within the mountain of storage rings, Linley was quickly browsing through each and every one of them. Not yet. How could it not be? Why? Still, hey, this is... Just as Linley was at his wit's end and was about to give up, a pile of green grass suddenly appeared in front of Linley's eyes. Body tempering grass. Damn. Looking at the pile of green grass in front of him, Lin Rei was very excited. He reached out and picked up the body tempering grass. With a thought, he withdrew from the storage ring and took out the ring with the body tempering grass. Then, he left the system space and returned to reality. A green light appeared in Lin Rei's hand, and a smile appeared on his face. Hee, I can finally fulfill my promise. As he spoke, he stepped forward and looked at little Six, who was sleeping soundly. Lin Rei had no intention of waking him up. Go to sleep, everything will be fine when you wake up. With that, Lin Rei mobilized his spiritual energy. The body tempering grass that was emitting a green light in his hand instantly exploded the moment Lin Rei mobilized his cultivation. Gather for me, with a low shout, Lin Rei stretched out his hand, and the green light that was originally thrown away began to converge. In an instant, the green light appeared in his hand, and then it was guided into little Six's body by Lin Rei. A comfortable groan came from little Six's mouth, but he did not wake up. At this moment, a miraculous scene appeared. Little Six's injuries began to slowly recover under Lin Rei's guidance. 5 minutes. 30 minutes, 2 hours, the entire process took Linley speechlessly 4 hours. These 4 hours could be described as extremely torturous for Linley. After all, he had used his own cultivation base to help guide little Six. Linley was afraid that if he made a mistake, little Six's body would explode and he would die. Thus, he had to be very, very careful during the entire process. Thus, it took him 4 hours to complete the transfer of energy from the body tempering grass. Looking down, Lin Rei frowned when he saw the sticky black substance on little Six's body. He got up and moved away from little Six. It seems that the body tempering grass has taken effect in his body. Looking at little Six's current appearance, Lin Rei knew that the impurities in little Six's body were slowly being removed. However, because little Six was already middle-aged, it would take more than a day to remove all the impurities in his body. Lin Rei conservatively estimated that little Six's situation would take at least 10 times. Otherwise, it would be impossible to completely remove the impurities. It's time to go back. Seeing that it was already bright outside, a trace of fatigue appeared. He stretched out his hand to pinch his eyebrows. He turned around and walked out of the door, returning home in a flash. Husband, where did you go? We were eating when you disappeared. You left for an entire day. As soon as Linley appeared in his courtyard, he could hear his wife's grumbling. That's right. Look, you only came back after a whole day. Don't tell me, What? Looking at the strange smile on little Six's face, a bad premonition welled up in his heart. Looking at Linley, Ice opened his mouth and said, "You didn't find us another sister outside, did you?" Lin Rei, hearing Ice's words, not only Lin Rei, but even Ing was speechless. He didn't expect Ice's imagination to be so wild. Ing trusted Lin Rei very much because she knew that the surrounding thousands of miles was the mortal world. With Lin Rei's current strength, it was impossible for him to find a mortal. Moreover, she understood her husband's thoughts, so it was impossible for him to find another sister for them like what Ice said. Alright, Ice, let's not talk about it. Husband must be tired after going out for an entire day. Hurry up and let him wash his face and sleep. Seeing the awkward situation, Ing hurriedly tried to smooth things over. Oh, okay. Ice also felt that he might have said something wrong, so he quickly turned around and followed Ying's instructions. Looking at Ice's back, Ing sighed and turned to her husband, "Let's go in and rest. You didn't come back for an entire night. When you come back, you still smell." Saying that, Ing didn't mind the smell. She took Lin Rei's arm and walked into the room to help Lin Rei undress. "I just went to wash little Six's bones. He's very good, and his character is honest, so it took me some time. I will be there for the next 10 days, so you don't have to wait for me. Just go to sleep." Little Six. The little Six who led us to see the house before? Staring at Linley, Shadow had a look of disbelief on his face. He didn't expect that Linley would go so far as to cleanse the bones of a mortal. That's him. He's a very good person. Before. Lin Rei told Ing what happened in Yunxi's mountain range. I see. After listening to Lin Rei's words, Ing nodded and agreed with Lin Rei's decision. Husband, I support you. We should help such a loyal and responsible person as much as we can. After all, such a person doesn't have much time left. Oh. Of course. After saying that, the two looked at each other and smiled. Then Lin Rei washed his face and went to sleep. In the next 10 days, Lin Rei went to Little Six's house every day for 2 hours. However, during these 2 hours, neither Little Six nor his family could find Lin Rei's existence. And in these 10 days, Little Six's body became very strong. According to his cultivation, Little Six had reached the 5th level of qi refining. Lin Rei was a little satisfied with this. After all, this was his masterpiece. On the 3rd day after Lin Rei came back, the hunting team finally came back, but the number of people who came back was completely different from the number who went out, and everyone was injured. As for the prey, there was only a little, not even half of the usual prey. Everyone in the village chose to be silent. Chapter 997. This matter was not told to anyone, as if it was deliberately suppressed. As for the families who lost their loved ones, they received generous compensation from the village. As for the Yunxi mountain range, it was completely sealed off after the death incident. No one was allowed to speak, which made it clear that they could not go to the Yunxi mountain range in the future. As for a new hunting location, they were still looking for it. They would make further plans after finding a new one. As for things, because the hunting team did not bring back much, Lin Rei donated more than half of his family's things to the village. After all, it was easy for Lin Rei to get food, so it was understandable for him to take out a little. This way, he could also get the approval of the villagers. Why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone? After receiving Lin Rei's donation, Lin Rei's attitude toward Lin Rei's family was extremely good. In this way, Lin Rei was more and more respected in Huanglian village. Lin Rei did not think much of it, maybe because of his high status. 1 year, 5 years, 10 years passed. Lin Rei had been in Huanglian village for 10 years. Usually, besides eating and sleeping, his only pleasure was sitting and fishing in the stream outside the village. This had become Lin Rei's daily pleasure. However, no one knew that Lin Rei was not doing this for pleasure, but to resist his murderous aura and evil aura. The effect was quite significant. At least during this period, Lin Rei did not feel any change in the murderous aura and evil aura in his body. Lin Rei was very satisfied with this. In the past 10 years, a lot of things had happened in the village. Some old people could not endure the waste of time and finally returned to the long river of time. Tendo reincarnation, so it was normal. In the past 10 years, because of Lin Rei's cultivation, Xiaolu had completely embarked on the path of cultivation. Perhaps because the spiritual energy in the spiritual realm in his heart was too high, Xiaolu had already stepped into the nascent soul stage after cultivating for 10 years. When he stepped into the nascent soul stage, he would have a chance to reconstruct himself. Naturally, Xiaolu did not give up on this opportunity. He removed his previous appearance and replaced it with a handsome young man. The whole village was very surprised by this. They wanted to know why Little Six had changed, but because of Lin Rei, Little Six didn't reveal Lin Rei in front of everyone. The final reason was that they didn't know. Perhaps they had accidentally eaten something strange. However, some of the more down-to-earth villagers naturally believed such a reason. Lin Rei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After all, he would be in a lot of trouble if he revealed this matter. Huanglian village, beside the stream, Lin Rei sat on the shore as usual. There was an ancient book in his hands, and his fishing rod was placed beside him, waiting for the fish to take the bait. In Lin Rei's opinion, this kind of life was very comfortable. If it wasn't for the murderous aura and baleful aura, perhaps he wouldn't be fated with this kind of life. Therefore, he wanted to take advantage of this period of time to enjoy life, to enjoy a life that he had never lived before. As for Lin Rei's appearance at this moment, it was already different from when he first arrived. After all, he was now an ordinary person in the eyes of ordinary people. Since he was an ordinary person, there would be a day when he would grow old. Therefore, following the strange changes, Lin Rei's appearance also changed a little under his deliberate changes. Although he still looked very young, it was not as excessive as before. Plop, plop, just when Lin Rei was waiting for the fish to take the bait, suddenly, the other end of the fishing rod suddenly splashed water. It's here. Looking at the splashing water, Lin Rei's expression changed. Then, in a flash, he reached out and grabbed the fishing rod. With a pull, the fishing hook appeared in front of Lin Rei. On the hook, there was a fish that was neither too big nor too small. It looked just right. Looking at the result of his work today, Lin Li was very satisfied. It's time to go back. He placed the fish in the prepared basket, tidied up the fishing rod, and walked back home. In the Divine Realm, in the Xuanzong Sect ceremonial hall, Lin Yun sat in the main seat with a worried expression. Looking at the empty hall, Lin Yun's face was full of exhaustion. Father, I finally understand why you handed the sect to me. Lin Yun smiled bitterly and mocked himself. Although the Xuanzong sect is now the most powerful sect in the Divine Realm, and I am the focus of attention in the Divine Realm, everything is too tiring. There are so many things to do every day, and I don't even have the slightest bit of freedom. I regret it, I really regret it. I should not have agreed to become the sect master of the Xuanzong sect. Now, even if I want to leave, it is impossible. He thought about how none of the people in the sect could support the Xuanzong sect. Even his own little brothers and sisters were not in the sect because they were living under his protection. If they were to inherit the sect, it would be hard to say whether the Xuanzong sect would still exist in the end. But Lin Yun would not allow this. Although he did not want to become the sect master of the Xuanzong sect, he would not allow the Xuanzong sect to be destroyed. Sigh. What should I do? Is there any way for me to leave this place and regain my freedom without affecting the Xuanzong sect's normal development? Thinking about it, Lin Yun closed his eyes and leaned back on the chair, completely unaffected by the storm. He sank into deep thought. Lin Rui did not know about Lin Yun's thoughts. At this moment, Lin Rui was at home in Huang Lian village, happily sitting at the dining table and tasting the fruits of his labor. Looking at the fish in front of him, Lin Rui smiled and picked up the chopsticks to eat. To the side, Ying and Bing were satisfied when they saw Lin Rui so happy. "Husband, how long are we going to stay here?" Suddenly, for some reason, Bing asked this question. As soon as he said that, Lin Li stopped eating and Ying turned to look at Bing in confusion, trying to seek an explanation. Seeing the confusion in their eyes, Bing explained, "What I mean is, how long are we going to stay here? Husband, aren't you going to ascend to the saints' world soon? Don't you want to go home and see your children and see how the sect is doing?" Home. Sect. Lin Rui fell silent. Hearing Bing's reminder, he remembered that he still had a home, children, and a sect. However, he was very relieved to hand the sect over to Lin Yun because he believed that Lin Yun would not let him down. Thinking of Lin Yun, Lin Rui's soul could not help but tremble. "Yes, I'm going to ascend to the holy world soon. It will be difficult to see him again." He understood that after entering the holy world and adding the time given by the system, he really did not have the time to return to the divine world to see his family and sect. "Husband, what do you think?" At this moment, Ying also spoke. Her words were filled with nostalgia. She missed the sect, her home, and her children. At this moment, the room was especially clean. Ying and Bing looked at their husband expectantly, waiting for his answer. 10 minutes. 20 minutes, finally, Lin Rui thought it through. During this period of time, he had thought about many things. It was like a movie in his mind, flashing scene after scene. You made him understand this, he should go back and take a look. After thinking it through, he came back to his senses and looked at his expectant children. He smiled and said, "Let's go back. We'll go back after a while. Staying here for more than 10 years is enough. Although I haven't completely suppressed the killing intent and baleful aura in my body, it won't flare up anytime soon." At this moment, Lin Rui exuded an indescribable feeling of freedom, which made the two girls even more infatuated with Lin Rui. "Good, that's great. We can finally go home. Yes, we've been out for a long time. I wonder if there are any changes at home." Watching the two girls chatter about how to go home, Lin Li felt very satisfied in his heart. That's enough. Ever since they decided to go back, the two girls began to get up, as if they were ready to leave at any time. Lin Li didn't try to stop the two girls from doing this. Ever since they had arrived here, their lives had been extremely boring. Every day, all they did was accompany him, doing nothing. Time passed quickly. It had been a year since Lin Rui decided to go back. During this year, the two girls prepared a lot, and Lin Rui also made the decision to go home, to the sect that he had built with his own hands. On this day, Lin Rui did not wear ordinary clothes as usual. Instead, he wore the same clothes as himself. His whole body exuded an ethereal aura. Looking up at the sky, a flash of light appeared. "It's time. I wonder where Xiaofan is now." As he spoke, he raised both hands. Mysterious seals jumped happily in Lin Rui's hands. The whole process was very smooth and beautiful. Realm Moon, appear. At this moment, in a secret realm of the 9 provinces, a beautiful woman sat cross-legged on a blood-red stone that seemed to be condensed from blood. Her breathing was very strange and unpredictable. Realm Moon, appear. Just as the woman was holding her breath and comprehending, Lin Rei's voice suddenly rang in her mind. Lin Rei? The woman, who had her eyes closed, suddenly opened her eyes. A bloody light appeared and the corner of her mouth curled up slightly. A playful smile appeared. Why did this guy think of sending me a message? Thinking, Xiaofan directly accepted the message and sent out the same hand seal as Lin Rei. Suddenly, a mirror made of water appeared in front of the woman. Little guy, why did you think of sending me a message? After so many years, I thought you had forgotten about me. Beside the stream in Huanglian village, Lin Rei was stunned when he heard the voice coming from the mirror. Looking at the woman, a touch of helplessness appeared. After so many years, why are you still like this? TCH, aren't you the same? Really? The woman on the other side of the mirror was none other than Xiaofan, who Lin Rei wanted to contact. The secret technique of Realm Moon was the secret technique of Xiaofeng's family. Previously, when Xiaofan left, she only gave it to Lin Rei. Alright, let's not talk about other things. He didn't want to chat with Xiaofan anymore because he was the only one who suffered losses every time. I have to make a trip back to the sect. After this trip, I'm afraid I won't return to the divine realm anymore. You mean? Hearing Lin Rei's words, Xiaofan was stunned. A touch of surprise appeared on her face. You? Don't tell me you. That's right. It's exactly what you think. Seeing Xiaofan so shocked, Lin Rei joked. I've broken through the Saint Realm and entered the early stage of the Dao Fruit Saint Realm. However, due to some reasons, I haven't ascended to the Holy World yet. This time, after returning to the sect, I have to settle some things and stay with my family for a while. After that, I won't return. So, do you want to go back with me? You can use this opportunity to see your disciple, my granddaughter. For a moment, Xiaofan was silent. She wanted to go back, but when she thought of the critical moment she was in, she hesitated for a moment and finally shook her head. Forget it. I won't go back with you this time. I'll go back after I'm done here. You're not going back. Lin Rei was a little shocked by Xiaofeng's answer. In the past, Xiaofan wouldn't leave no matter what. What about now? Yes. Because of some things, I have to settle the things here first before I can leave. So, I won't go back this time. Xiaofeng's resolute gaze let Lin Rei know that she was serious. At the same time, he also understood that he couldn't change Xiaofeng's mind. In the end, he could only compromise. Alright. Since you've decided, then so be it. But you have to remember that I will ascend to the Holy World in 300 years. At that time, no matter what you have to do, you have to postpone it and go to the Holy World with me. Understand? Understood. Even if you didn't say it, I would still go. Looking at Lin Rei, Xiaofan smiled. After all, I have enemies in the Holy World. Moreover, I believe in you. In my eyes, you're a monster. In just a few thousand years, you can step into the Saint Realm. If this was in the past, I wouldn't believe it. Lin Rei, seeing that Lin Rei didn't say anything, Xiaofan waved her hand. Let's stop here. I still have some things to do, so I won't talk to you anymore. Without waiting for Lin Li to finish speaking, the floating mirror moon disappeared into nothingness. She's still so impatient. When will she change? Maybe she'll be a beauty. Swish swish, just as Lin Li was immersed in his own imagination, suddenly, there was a rustling in the nearby grass. Who is it? He looked over. He didn't expect that he would be so careless that he didn't sense anything there. Not coming out? The grass stopped shaking, but no one or anything else came out. Looking at that place, Lin Rei frowned slightly. A hint of displeasure appeared on his face. Tisk, all right. In that case, don't blame the Emperor for being impolite. Lin Rei didn't think that his patience was very good. He raised his hand and a huge suction force appeared. Ah, a scream was heard. A black figure flew out from the grass under Lin Rei's suction force. Plop. Ouch. A cry of pain was heard. Hearing this voice, Lin Rei was stunned. Why is this voice so familiar? It seems to be Little Six. Looking down, the black figure that fell on the ground appeared in Lin Rei's sight. After seeing the black figure's appearance, Lin Rei was stunned. Damn, isn't this Little Six? Looking at him, Lin Rei said, "Why are you here?" Chapter 998. He stammered, a complicated look on his face. Raising his head to look at Linley, a look of disappointment appeared on his face. You are leaving?" Lin Rei was startled and nodded. "Yes, I've been here for a long time. It's time to go home. After all, I have a child at home." He seemed to want to say something, but when he saw the anticipation in Lin Rei's eyes, he didn't say anything. I didn't expect that after 10 years, your cultivation has already reached the heaven-breaking realm. I'm really looking forward to your future achievements." Looking at Lin Rei, Xiaoluzi smiled. Ha ha ha, Linley laughed. He had never thought that he would one day be judged by a nascent soul-stage cultivator. He had high expectations for him. The two of them looked at each other in tacit understanding and didn't speak. They just stood by the stream until the sun set. Only then did they come back to their senses. However, at this moment, Xiaoluzi's expression was filled with sadness. In his eyes, Lin Rei was his master, teacher, and friend. But now, this neighbor of his who was both his teacher and friend was leaving. How could he not be sad? "When are you leaving?" Xiaoluzi, who hadn't spoken for a long time, asked. He turned to look at Xiaoluzi and smiled. "I don't know. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe after a while. I'm not sure." "Okay." They looked at each other and smiled, then turned and walked back to the village. On the way, Lin Rei explained his previous cultivation experience to Xiaoluzi. There were some things that he didn't understand, but after hearing Lin Rei's explanation, he was suddenly enlightened. Xiaoluzi had a good feeling that he would be able to make a breakthrough soon. Excitement welled up in his heart and he sped up. Lin Rei didn't care about this. Instead, he was excited for Xiaoluzi. In his opinion, he originally thought that Little Six would cultivate to the foundation establishment stage at most, but he didn't expect that he would break through to the foundation establishment stage now. Lin Rei believed that this was not Xiaolu's limit. Although Xiaolu had already surpassed the golden age of cultivation, Lin Rei believed in Xiaolu's perseverance. As the saying went, if one's talent was not enough, perseverance would make up for it. If one's perseverance was not enough, cultivation techniques would make up for it. Fortunately, Little Six's perseverance was not bad. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to reach such a level. At the entrance of the village, the two of them stopped and looked at Little Six. Lin Rei's eyes flashed with disappointment, but no one noticed it. Perhaps even Lin Rei himself did not notice. "Let's part ways here. You will have to rely on yourself in the future. As for the cultivation techniques, I have already sealed them in your sea of consciousness. The cultivation resources are also in the storage ring that I gave you. Although I know that this result is very low, I still hope to see you in the sacred world or even in a higher plane in the future." When he said this, Lin Rei himself didn't believe it. Moreover, cultivation required time. He was already a saint now. In tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, he would break through again and enter a higher plane. It might be very difficult for him to see Xiaoluzi again. However, little Six didn't hesitate at all. He said bluntly with an extremely determined expression, I will definitely continue to work hard and strive to catch up to you as soon as possible. Believe me, I will definitely do it. Seeing how determined little Six was, Lin Rei couldn't bear to discourage him. I believe you can do it. Just like that, the two of them went their separate ways and went back to their respective homes. At home, the two women sat in the courtyard and stared at the gate, waiting for Lin Rei's return. Jia. The gate opened. The figure that they were waiting for appeared. Husband. With a startled cry, before Linley could even react, the two girls threw themselves into Linley's arms. If it weren't for the fact that Linley was standing on the ground, the two girls probably would have pressed Linley to the ground. What's wrong? Feeling the excitement of the two women, he was stunned and hurriedly asked. Looking at their husband, the two women said at the same time, let's go home. I miss home. I miss them. The sudden decision made Lin Rei a little stunned. Previously, he said that he would wait for a while. He didn't expect that the two women had already decided to go home. Looking at the two women, Lin Rei came back to his senses and said, why do you suddenly want to go home? Didn't you say that you would wait for a while? No, wait. We still need time to go home. It will be enough if we delay on the road. Bing said. That's right, husband. Looking at Bing, she said, we've been here long enough. It's time to go back. After saying that, the two women's pleading eyes appeared in Lin Rei's line of sight. Looking at this scene, Lin Rei's last bit of resistance was completely broken. He nodded and said, all right. Since you've decided, what else can I say? Since you want to go, then let's go. Saying that, he looked at the house in front of him with reluctance. Let's go. Since he had decided, he didn't want to stay. He turned around and walked out of the gate with the two women. Without alerting anyone, the three of them walked out of Huanglian village. The moment the three of them walked out of Huanglian village, the original rustic atmosphere disappeared. Suddenly, an invincible aura was released. At this moment, the three of them were no longer different people. They were genuine saints. Let's go. The three of them looked at each other and smiled. Lin Rei grabbed the two women's willowy waists and with a kick of his legs, his figure soared into the sky and disappeared in an instant. His speed was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. If a Dao fruit saint like Lin Rei saw Lin Rei's speed, he would probably look for a piece of tofu to kill himself. Not for other reasons, but because the difference in strength between the two of them was too great. They were not on the same level at all. In the Xuanzong sect, Lin Yun did not know that his father, Lin Rei, was on his way back. He had tried to escape several times, but every time, he was discovered by Kegang and mercilessly captured. As a mid-stage ultimate god, Lin Yun was very depressed. He could feel the suffocating aura from Quigang's body, but it was not there before. This time, he tried to escape again. The final result was obvious. Kegang, can you do it? You're a saint, why do you have to keep looking at me? I just want to go out for a stroll. Can't you let me be presumptuous for once? Lin Yun, the sect master of the Xuanzong sect, was being sandwiched under Quigang's armpit. Along the way, the Xuanzong sect disciples saw this scene and laughed without scruples. They didn't expect their own sect leader to be in such a sorry state. However, they all knew that Kegang was someone who had followed their old sect leader, Linley. Of course, although they were part of the same group, ordinary disciples like them were just cannon fodder. To put it bluntly, they were just cannon fodder. No matter how Lin Yun spoke, Kegang was like a mute or a deaf person. He did not hear or speak. His silence made Lin Yun's head ache. I say, Kegang, I'm the sect master of the Xuanzong sect. You're making things difficult for me. Moreover, how am I going to establish my prestige in the sect in the future? Prestige? Kegang, who was moving quickly, suddenly stopped when he heard Lin Yun's words. He lowered his head to look at Lin Yun and said, "What is prestige?" Prestige is based on strength. Only with strength can one have prestige. Moreover, in the Xuanzong sect, even if you don't have prestige, everyone will listen to you because your father is Lin Rei. Moreover, a touch of admiration appeared as he spoke. Your cultivation is already at the middle stage of the Great Tao Ultimate God Realm, right? Yes. Yes. Lin Yun nodded. It's enough to have the middle stage of the Great Tao Ultimate God Realm. Although your father's name will never be erased, your prestige will never be erased. Therefore, even if I catch you in front of everyone, your prestige will not be damaged. Lin Yun was speechless. Lin Yun finally understood what Kegang was trying to say. To put it bluntly, Kegang did not want to let him go. It was that simple. All right. Looking at Lin Yun, Kegang put him down and said with a serious expression, "I know what you're thinking, but have you thought about it?" The young master handed the entire sect to you not because he wanted you to inherit his father's legacy, but because you have the ability to do so. That's why he was relieved to leave. But look at you now. As someone who followed Lin Rei, Kegang began to preach without hesitation. You want freedom when your cultivation is strong? You might as well use your time to think about the sect. Wasn't there a rumor some time ago that the young master intended to move the Xuanzong sect to the 9 prefectures? You haven't even solved this matter and you still want to leave to find the young master? Lin Yun choked. He wanted to say something, but when the words reached his mouth, he couldn't say anything. Indeed, there was such a rumor before, and he had also heard the news from his father and his senior brothers and sisters. It was also because of this that he wanted to leave this sect that seemed like a shackle cage. He longed for freedom, longed for his father's approval, and longed to be like Lin Xianyuan and the others. Why aren't you saying anything? Seeing that Lin Yun did not speak, Kegang continued, "All right, since you have nothing to say, hurry up and go back to where you belong. Don't wander around all day. Not only are you tired, but I'm also tired." Lin Yun was speechless when he heard Kegang say that he was tired. A dignified sage might be able to fool a child, but to fool a mid-stage ultimate god cultivator like him? Dream on. Lin Yun did not respond to Kegang and was thinking about his next escape plan. He would not give up his decision just because of Quigang's lecture. Oh, right. Suddenly, Quigang's voice sounded in his ear. "I'm just pretending this time, but I won't be so merciful next time. After all, I can't do it a third time. What do you think?" Lin Yun turned his head to look at Kegang. When he saw the smile on Quigang's face, Lin Yun really wanted to go up and kill him so he could leave openly. Kegang had reached the peak of the Dao fruit realm because of Lin Rei's advancement, while Lin Yun was only a mid-stage ultimate god. The gap between the two was too big. If it was Lin Rei, it would be fine, but unfortunately, Lin Yun was not his father. "I'm leaving." After saying goodbye to Lin Yun, a stream of light flashed and Quigang's figure disappeared in front of Lin Yun without anyone noticing. TCH. Lin Yun was stunned when he saw that Quigang's original spot was empty. The previous serious look had disappeared and was replaced by an arrogant look. "Nine Yaya, isn't it just a sage realm cultivation? What's wrong with that? It's not like I can't reach it. Just you wait. When my cultivation reaches the sage realm one day, I'll be on par with you. At that time, I'll settle all the old and new grudges." His ferocious look made it seem like he was serious, but he was the only one who knew whether he was serious or not. "Humph," Lin Yun snorted coldly and turned to leave. After what happened just now, he could already imagine what the sect would say about him. Lin Yun did not know that Lin Rui was returning home, and Lin Rui did not know that Lin Yun had caused so much trouble just to leave. If he knew that Lin Yun was so annoyed with the position of sect master, Lin Rui would have already changed him. As a son who owed him, he did not want Lin Yun to be unhappy. He also wanted Lin Yun to be happy in this life. In the central region of the 9th state, in Yen City. It had been more than 10 days since he left Huanglian village. During these 10 days, Lin Rui could be said to be rushing non-stop. Even a horse had a period of fatigue, let alone a person. After flying for more than 10 days, Lin Rui finally could not hold on any longer. He found the nearest city and descended to hide his cultivation, suppressing it to the divine ancestor realm. Yen City was a first-grade city. The city could hold tens of millions of people. One could imagine how grand and powerful this city was. After entering the city and walking on the bustling street, Lin Rui, Ying, and the other two were not used to it. After staying in Huanglian village for more than 10 years, they were not used to the life here. Hearing the surrounding noise, Lin Rui frowned and a trace of displeasure flashed across his face. Sigh, looks like we have to leave quickly. Sighing, he released his divine sense and began to search. He did not look for anything else but a restaurant with good wine. Yen City, in this Yen City, there were different levels of existence. The inner and outer areas of the city were the poorest places, which were also the slums that people spoke of. As one walked a little further in, changes began. There were many shops, and many trading companies stood here. Of course, the most bustling area was the central region of Yen City. In this place, they were all top-notch existences. It was basically an extravagant hope for the poor to enter this place. This was because, entering this place required an entrance ticket. Just the price of the entrance ticket was enough to cover the lifetime expenses of the poor. There was also an unwritten rule here. Only cultivators above the rank of divine guard could enter. Those who violated this rule would have their entire family exterminated. Regarding this rule, perhaps the people in Yen City were already used to it. However, to the people in the outside world, this rule was abnormal. At this moment, the entire Yen City appeared in Lin Rui's mind. It was like a 3D image. Why is the central region of the city so lively? In his mind, the central region of the city was very lively. A group of people were walking towards a trading company-like building. Chapter 999. What's wrong, husband? Did something happen? On the side, Ying saw her husband in a daze and hurriedly asked with concern. Yes, husband. Say something. On the side, Bing, who was an acute person, saw that his husband did not speak, so he anxiously raised his voice. At this moment, Lin Rui also recovered from his daze. Turning his head to look at his wife and son, Lin Rui opened his mouth and told them what he had seen. Just now, I saw that the city center was very lively, and many cultivators were walking in that direction. How about, let's go? Without waiting for Lin Rui to finish speaking, Bing reached out and grabbed Lin Rui's sleeve. He looked impatient, and his expression was full of anticipation. Seeing his wife like this, Lin Rui was stunned for a moment. Then, he came back to his senses and said with a smile, let's go. I really want to see what they are doing. Okay. Hearing this, Ying nodded obediently. To be honest, she was also very curious, but she did not have the same personality as Bing. The three of them did not become anxious because they wanted to go to the city center. Along the way, they walked and stopped as if they were shopping in a market. When they saw something they liked, they would stop and take a few more glances. When they saw something they wanted to buy, they would buy it. If they did not like it, they would leave without even looking at it. Along the way, Lin Rui could be said to be very depressed. After all, shopping was not his specialty. If Lin Rei were to choose between shopping and cultivating, he would choose to cultivate without hesitation. Needless to say, Lin Rei would choose to cultivate without hesitation. As Linley saw it, training was much easier than going out for a stroll. In Linley's mind, going out for a stroll was even more tiring than going out for a fight. Just like this, the three of them walked all the way, seeing the poor and the rich. In the end, the three of them finally arrived at the extremely luxurious city center of Yen City. Stepping into the city center, Lin Rei's first impression was of heaven. Because he had seen the poverty of the outside world, he called this extremely luxurious place paradise. He stared at the surrounding pavilions, towers, and carved beams. Even one of the pavilions had been carved out of dream jade. It must be understood that although the quality of dream jade wasn't very high, Linley had never seen someone spend so much money to carve out a house. Lin Rei bitterly smiled when he saw all this. He shook his head and said, "Looks like this city isn't as simple as we thought." For such a huge city to be able to stand tall for so many years, coupled with the rules of survival, to be able to survive in this world at such a state, it was obvious that there was a big shot behind the scenes. Otherwise, if it weren't for the existence of the big shots, this kind of city wouldn't be like this. "Husband, where is the place you mentioned before?" After arriving at the bustling area, Ing and Bing were no longer as happy as before. "Not far ahead." Looking at his wife, Lin Rei was stunned for a moment. After he spoke, he walked towards the place where he had previously explored. His speed wasn't very fast. Perhaps it was because he wanted to adjust his pace so that his wife wouldn't be unable to keep up. Along the way, Lin Rei encountered many cultivators. However, a large number of cultivators were crazily rushing forward as if there was something in front of them. Bang! Just when Lin Rei was paying attention to the front, a young man suddenly appeared from behind. When he saw Lin Rei and the other two, he didn't stop to dodge. Instead, he rushed forward and directly hit Ing, who was beside Lin Rei. For a moment, she was somewhat unprepared. She staggered and almost fell to the ground. The young man who was originally running quickly stopped. He turned his head and looked at Lin Rei and the others with an unfriendly expression. He coldly shouted, "Don't you want to open your eyes? Can't you see that I'm coming over? Why don't you let me pass?" With that, the young man took a step forward and arrived in front of Lin Rei. He stretched out his hand to grab Ing. "You're the one who hit me. Do you know that you're hurting me? I'll give you 3 seconds to leave. Otherwise, be careful of the Emperor's ruthlessness." Just when the young man's hand was about to touch Ing, Lin Rei directly reached out and grabbed the young man's hand tightly, not allowing him to take another step forward. You let go. Let go of me." Looking at Lin Rei, the young man wanted to resist. However, when the young man wanted to pull his hand away, he realized that he couldn't use any strength. Instead of saying that he couldn't use any strength, it was more accurate to say that he was weak. In front of the person in front of him, Refining was pitifully weak. Sensing the displeasure on Lin Rei's face, the young man was stunned. A bad premonition surged in his heart. He vaguely felt that he had kicked an iron plate today. He was in big trouble. Just like what the young man thought, he was in big trouble. The moment he bumped into the Shadow Queen, he didn't repent and instead, made a false accusation. His fate was already sealed. Death might be a kind of relief for the young man. After all, this world was too cruel. Survival of the fittest. In this world where the strong were respected, as long as you had the strength, you would be the god of this world. You could even kill those who came down to the mortal world. Let go of you. Pfft, are you joking with me? Looking at the young man, Lin Rei didn't look angry. Instead, he sneered. In other people's eyes, Lin Rei was smiling. However, in the young man's eyes, Lin Rei's smile wasn't a smile at all. Lin Rei stood up and waved at him. If someone was familiar with Lin Rei, they would definitely not know. As long as Lin Rei smiled, it meant that today's matter might be a little serious. You want? What do you want? Looking at Lin Rei's appearance, the young man's entire body trembled and he spoke with a trembling voice. Simple, a bright light flashed and he looked at the young man, Lin Rei, and continued, just leave your life behind. You bumped into my wife. Only your life can make up for your mistake just now. What? You want to kill me? The young man simply couldn't believe it. He didn't expect that he would have to pay the price of his life in the eyes of the other party just by bumping into his wife. He also didn't expect that there would be someone who dared to talk to him like that in Yen City. Looking at Lin Rei, the young man's face was gloomy. He didn't know where he got the courage from, but he directly said, I advise you to let me go quickly. Do you know who my father is? Do you still want to stay in Yen City? Ah. Gathering his courage, he directly blew his beard and glared at Lin Rei and said. In the beginning, he was very confident, but the more he spoke, the more his tone became. At the end of his words, it was clear that it wasn't that the young man had stopped, but that his voice was already inaudible to Lin Rei. I don't know who your father is, and I don't want to know. I only know that you are finished. Because of your recklessness, you've harmed yourself. But don't worry, you won't be lonely. It won't be long before your family will accompany you because of you. At this moment, the young man was scared. He didn't expect that his identity would one day be useless in Yen City. Moreover, looking at the way the person in front of him spoke, although he was ignorant and incompetent since he was young, he had learned the ability to observe people's words and body language. Seeing Lin Rei like that, he knew that this time, he might really be done for. Die. Raising his hand, a terrifying energy flashed. In the next moment, the young man's body froze in place. However, the difference was that the young man no longer spoke. His life force disappeared without a trace. His body became limp and fell to the ground like mud. Lin Rei didn't pay any attention to the young man's corpse. He just let it die on its own. After doing all this, Lin Rei didn't even look at it. He said to Ing and Ing, and then walked towards the place where he was previously investigating. As for killing the young man, Lin Rei didn't care about the gazes of the people on the way. He just directly made a move in broad daylight. Oh my God, isn't that Lord Tiancheng's son? He's been killed? Yes, this is Yen City. If Lord Tiancheng knew about this, I'm afraid that the young man and his 2 wives or maids would all die. Tisk, who cares? Anyway, this bastard is already dead. My sister's death can be considered as indirectly avenging. As the prodigal son of Yen City, the young man was an existence that everyone hated because he had harmed many young girls in Yen City. How many young girls were harmed by him until they died in the future? However, because he had a good father and a good family, even though he had done such a shameless thing that angered both men and gods, he was still alive today. Now, the young man had died. The happiest thing was that the whole thing was completed. From the rich to the ordinary people, there wasn't a single person who didn't applaud in their heart. The young man seemed to have grown wings. He quickly spread in the city that was filled with tens of millions of people. Small carpets on the small roads, restaurants on the big roads. As for these things, Lin Rei, who was the person in charge, didn't know anything about it. At this moment, after Lin Rei left the scene of the crime, he brought his wife and came to the door of the pavilion that everyone entered according to the memory in his mind. TSK, Dong Lai Pavilion. Good name, purple chi comes from the east. It's good. Looking at the signboard of the pavilion, Lin Rei and Shadow exclaimed in admiration. Not only that, what made Lin Rei admire the words on the signboard? The words were filled with vigorous killing intent and the meaning of the Great Tao. The three of you, are you here to enter my Donglai pavilion to bid for the great desolate ancient species? Just when Lin Rei was lamenting, a man's voice sounded from the front. Lowering his head and looking over, a righteous young man wearing a purple gold crown appeared in front of Lin Rei and the other two. Looking at him, Lin Rei was stunned. He opened his mouth and asked, I wonder if the auction of the great desolate ancient species that you mentioned is related to the group of people that entered my pavilion? Originally, he thought that the three people in front of him were also here to bid. However, looking at their confused expressions, he knew that he guessed wrong. Little brother, seeing the young man in a daze, Lin Rei couldn't help but call out again, little brother, you haven't answered my question yet. Did the group of people that went in just now come for the great desolate ancient species that you mentioned? Yes. It's for the great desolate ancient species. Hearing Lin Rei's question, the young man quickly explained, didn't we find this great desolate ancient species in a secret realm previously? However, due to some reasons, we decided to auction it. If it weren't for some special reasons, my Donglai pavilion might not have made a move for this great desolate ancient species. A trace of regret appeared on his face. TSK, who are you trying to fool? Looking at the young man's expression, Lin Rei naturally didn't believe his words. At the same time, the young man's complexion was a little abnormal, especially his expression. If that's the case, then I must go in and take a look. Although that was what he thought, he still had to give the young man face. After saying that, Lin Rei ignored the young man and walked towards the Donglai pavilion. Hey! When Lin Rei suddenly left, the young man was stunned. He quickly went forward to stop him. Excuse me, dear guests. Due to some matters, we can't enter the Donglai pavilion. You either have an invitation or 500,000 middle-grade divine sense crystals to pass. Damn, this is daylight robbery. Looking at the young man, no matter how displeased Lin Rei was, he had no other choice if he wanted to enter the Donglai pavilion. Of course, this is voluntary. If you don't want to, you can leave on your own. I will definitely not speak of what happened today. Lin Rei was speechless. Lin Rei was already completely speechless toward the young man. He nodded and said, go in. After saying that, Lin Rei's expression appeared as if his flesh was being cut off. He took out a silver-white storage ring and sent his spiritual sense into it. Then, he counted a handful of divine crystals and handed them to the young man. Then, without looking at the young man, he stepped into the auction hall. After entering, Lin Rei saw that the exit was glorious and simple. He was no longer as shocked as he was when he first saw it. Antique, and very real. Seeing this, Linley was stunned for a moment before coming back to his senses. Although he was stunned, it wasn't to that extent. This Donglai pavilion is not simple. Looking at the sea of people at this moment, Lin Rei began to look forward to what the ancient remnant species was going to be auctioned this time. I hope it won't disappoint me. After saying that, he went to a corner and sat down with a hint of interest. At this moment, Lin Rei was waiting like everyone else. He was waiting for the auction to start and for the appearance of the ancient remnant species. Most of the people who came here were rich people. Of course, there were also people who just came here to take a look at the ancient remnant species. Everyone was waiting like the auctioneer. Now, who was not anxious? Who was not anxious? Time passed little by little. Some people began to show their impatience. When is it going to start? Didn't you say it would start on time? Why hasn't it started yet? That's right. How long has it been? Why hasn't it started yet? I can't wait any longer. Sigh. Why are you dawdling? If I had known, I wouldn't have come. So troublesome. The voices of discussion sounded like waves throughout the entire Donglai Pavilion. Suddenly, the originally quiet Donglai Pavilion was no longer quiet. There was only chaos and many doubts. "Husband, are we still going to wait?" Looking at her husband, Ying asked. "Husband, let's go. It's too boring to stay here." Seeing his two wives like this, Lin Rui was startled. Then, he began to hesitate. After all, they had been here for a long time. Furthermore, he was not willing to waste time here. To him, time was money. Every minute that passed was money. As for the Donglai Pavilion, perhaps because they knew what everyone was thinking, they tried their best to bring forward the event. "Everyone, it is my Donglai Pavilion's fault for making everyone wait. In order to make up for this matter, the upper echelons of the Lin family have unanimously decided to return home and uphold justice." A person appeared. Chapter 1000. Wow! As soon as the old man said that, the impatient crowd instantly calmed down. At this moment, the whole place was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard clearly. One could imagine how quiet the place was. Not for anything else, but for the 30% discount that the old man had mentioned. Although the East Arrival Pavilion wasn't that famous, there was one thing that everyone couldn't deny, and that was that the East Arrival Pavilion was extremely powerful. Any random auction item that they brought out could be compared to those powerful and reputable auction houses. Some of the items that were usually sold in Donglai Pavilion were very rare. So, how could they not be excited when they knew that other than the auction items, there was a 30% discount? However, Lin Rui didn't know about this. After all, he wasn't from Yen City, so he didn't know about the Donglai Pavilion's background. In his opinion, the only thing that was worth his attention today was the rumored surviving species from the Chaos Era. He wanted to see what kind of surviving species could be captured and auctioned. If the gods of the Chaos Era knew about this, they would be furious. Thinking back to how powerful the Desolate Era was back then, any random demonic beast would be in existence at the peak of the current divine world. And now, the Desolate Era's descendants were actually put up for auction. Although they were not of the same race, what would the Desolate Era's creatures think when they found out about this? This was a slap to their faces. As a strong person, dignity and face were more important than life. Turning his head, he looked at the two ladies with a doting expression and said, immediately, "Wait for me to see the surviving species of the Chaos Era, then we will leave. After all, we are already here. How can we not see it?" Looking at their husband's interested face, the two ladies couldn't bear to disturb him. In the end, they could only endure the helplessness in their hearts and nodded. "All right, since that's the case, let's take a look." But, at this moment, Ying raised her voice and said in a commanding tone, "You said it. We can only see the surviving species of the Chaos Era. After that, we will leave." "Hee, you can't go back on your word." "Yes, yes." Seeing that his wife had agreed, Lin Rui quickly nodded and reached out his hand to touch the tip of Ying's nose. "I knew Ying was the best. I'll listen to you. I'll just take a look and leave." After saying that, Lin Rui looked away from Ying and looked at the elder on the platform, waiting for the arrival of the surviving species of untainted land with anticipation. "TSK, why do I always feel that something is wrong?" Looking at the stage, Lin Rui always felt a little strange, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. Forget it. Let's wait and see. As for the danger, Lin Rui no longer cared about the word danger. He could kill Dao Fruit Saints at the Divine Venerate realm. Now that he was a Dao Fruit Saint, he was not afraid of danger at all. Moreover, he didn't believe that there was an existence in the God realm that could threaten him. At this moment, the old man on the stage saw that the crowd had quieted down. He smiled and said, "All right, since everyone is giving face to the Donglai Pavilion, let's not waste any more time. Let the auction begin. It should have started a long time ago." "Yeah, how long has it been? Quickly take it out and show it to everyone." "Yeah, Lao Ding, quickly take it out and see what it is. I can't wait." At this moment, the crowd below was in an uproar. However, Lao Ding didn't say anything to the crowd. Instead, he continued to act like an elder every year. "All right, since everyone is looking forward to it, let's welcome the first auction item today." With that, an attendant walked out from the back. He was neither fast nor slow. At a glance, one could tell that he had been trained because his hand was holding the plate was not slow at all. Moreover, Lin Rei felt that the attendant's cultivation was very high. He was already in the Divine Emperor realm. However, this scene made Lin Rei even more interested. One had to know that a Divine Emperor was holding a plate. If this were to spread in the God realm, it would be amazing. The attendant carried the plate to Lao Ding and stood there without saying anything. He lowered his head and looked at the ground. Lao Ding didn't care about the attendant's expression at all. He stretched out his hand and lifted the black cloth directly. An exquisite bracelet appeared on the plate. "It's a top-grade divine tool. Not bad. It's a spatial magic weapon condensed from space stone." Looking at the exquisite bracelet, Lin Rei saw through its structure at a glance. Tut, it's good. If it could be forged with time or real spatial magic, I'm afraid that the quality of this bracelet would be upgraded to the level of a divine tool. Moreover, there would be a lot more hongmeng. It wouldn't be like now, just a storage bracelet that can be used to store things. It's so beautiful. A surprised voice came from the side. Lin Rei was very familiar with this voice. It was only his wife, Ying. Turning his head, he saw that Ying's expression was like some sparkling stars. Her eyes were fixed on the bracelet on the table. This scene stunned Lin Rei. Thinking back to what Ying had said before, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. "You said you wouldn't let me look at other things. Aren't you the same now?" Although he said that, Lin Rei didn't have the impulse to buy the bracelet. As a divine tool master who had already become a divine tool master, how could he buy a shoddy divine tool just because it looked good? 5 million mid-grade divine crystals. Emperor wants this thing. Suddenly, Lin Rei spoke. Everyone's eyes gathered on Lin Rei and the other two in the corner. Lin Rei couldn't be bothered to pay attention to everyone's gazes. Originally, he didn't want to buy it, but when he saw the anticipation in his wife's eyes, he couldn't refuse. In the end, he could only brace himself and say it. Regarding Lin Rei's sudden words, the crowd only had one thought: is this guy an idiot? He didn't even bid for the bracelet and he dares to bid? What if his bid isn't as high as the bidding price? It'll be a loss of face. Seeing the strange scene below, Lao Ding chuckled mischievously and hurriedly tried to smooth things over. "That, fellow Taoist, are you sure you want to bid 5 million mid-grade divine crystals for this bracelet?" "That's right. Is there a problem?" "No, but it's an auction after all. So, we have to follow the rules. So, I'm sorry." Lin Rei was speechless when he heard Lao Ding's words. "You can just follow the rules. Why do you have to say so much to me?" Seriously, he didn't say anything else. As for Ying, she was very happy to see her husband throw away so much money for her. Regardless of whether she succeeded or not, she was very happy. The purple gold illusory spirit bracelet was a supreme-grade divine artifact. Its function was to store things. How about this? Our starting bid is the command token. Every bid must be at least 100,000 mid-grade divine crystals. Now, let the bidding begin. Bang! The hammer in old Ding's hand hit the ground and the price started to be called out, 700,000. 900,000. Sneer. 1,500,000, bit by bit, the bidding price began to rise. However, this trend soon disappeared. In the end, the final bidder was a woman. She bid 3,800,000. However, Lin Rei didn't say anything about this. He didn't even look at her. He directly said, "It's still 5 million. If you all feel that there's someone who can bid higher than Emperor, feel free to bid." After saying that, Lin Rei swept his gaze across the crowd. "In front of me, unless you have more divine crystals than me, everything else is useless." Boom! The crowd burst into an uproar. They couldn't compare to someone who could use 5 million mid-grade divine crystals to purchase a storage bracelet. 5 million wasn't a small amount. For a bracelet, the crowd felt that 5 million wasn't worth it. At the very least, that was what they felt. However, it was different for Lin Rei. He felt that it was extremely worth it. For the sake of winning a smile from a beauty, not to mention 5 million, even 50 million would be worth it. At this moment, the crowd shut their mouths. The crowd began to discuss among themselves. Lao Ding seemed to have already known that this would be the result. Seeing that the crowd didn't respond, Lao Ding promptly said, 5 million going once. 5 million going twice. After saying that, he took a glance at Lin Rei. Then, he continued, 5 million going thrice. Bang! The hammer was struck. There was no room for regret. At this moment, the crowd understood that the bracelet was Lin Rei's. Congratulations, fellow Daoist, for getting off to a good start. Since that's the case, let's continue. After that, Lin Rei didn't bid. It wasn't that the items here weren't good. It was just that he already had the best items. Thus, he wasn't interested in these ordinary items. Of course, it was undeniable that there were many good items among the items that Lin Rei didn't bid for. However, he wasn't interested in any of them. The only thing he was interested in was the so-called untainted ancient species. Time passed bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, half a day had passed. The auction had reached its climax. The scene was becoming more and more intense. Lin Rei was like a bystander when he saw this scene. He sat at the side and watched this scene quietly. As for Ying, she was also touching the table in her hand. She seemed to like it very much. Her hands didn't leave the table for even a moment. Lin Rei ignored this and continued to stare at the stage. Finally, a day had passed. At this moment, the auction had entered its final stage. Seeing everyone rubbing their fists, a trace of disdain flashed through Lin Rei's eyes. It's getting more and more interesting. I hope this matter isn't a lie. Otherwise, Lin Rei will be very angry. On the stage, a smile appeared on Lao Ding's face. Perhaps it was because he had gained too much today and was too happy, but the smile on his face was even wrinkled. Today's auction has entered its final round. Now, the next item will also be the last item of today's auction. I'm sure it's what everyone is most concerned about. As he spoke, he didn't forget to look at the crowd below. The smile on his face never disappeared. Stop wasting time, hurry up and take it out. At this moment, an extremely discordant voice sounded out. However, no one refuted this because the young man's words were exactly what they wanted to say but didn't dare to say. Looks like someone can't wait any longer. Looking at the young man, Lao Ding smiled and continued, all right, since it's like this, let's put the last item on the stage. Name, Lin Rei. Age, 3, 793. System level, 4. Cultivation, Dao Fruit Saint. Initial stage, experience, Divine Dragon 300100000. Divine Dragon, spiritual roots, lightning, fire, wood, metal, chaos spiritual roots talent, Tao fruit saint, perfection, cultivation method, primal chaos scripture level 4, incomplete, devouring heavenly technique, growable, primordial pill refinement, entry cultivation method, cloud formula, emperor level cultivation method, same formation, emperor level cultivation method. Tyrant body technique, emperor level cultivation method, thunder tyrant body, emperor level cultivation method, lightning scripture, divine level cultivation method, martial technique, butterfly steps, entry level, stellar finger, proficient, silent thunder spear art, high mystic martial technique, now cultivated to entry level, can produce 3 lightning bolts, myriad sword art, heaven rank. Level 3 incineration, emperor level, dragon subduing step, emperor level, Shura spear art, king level. Shura sword formation, king level, divine transformation, emperor level, colored glaze, lower saint level, thousand illusions, lower saint level, spiritual treasure, chaotic dragon spear, supreme grade divine artifact, martial emperor divine spear, lower divine artifact, growable, 10,000 magic sword, ungraded, myriad beast treasure furnace, heavenly temple, upper grade immortal artifact, worldly huayu, lower saint level, demon subduing sword, lower saint level, Chinkuan cauldron, lower saint level, equipment, flowing light supreme grade divine artifact set mount, middle stage supreme god, 1 chance to subdue, lottery roulette, 0 character lottery system, 0 times reputation, 0 redemption points, 340,000 spiritual stones, 0 lower saint alchemist, 1824 divine dragon 10,000 divine dragon, saint array master, 134 divine dragon 10,000 dragon, saint weapon forger, 1536 divine dragon 10,000 divine dragon, saint talisman master, 186 divine dragon 10,000, top elixir, none heaven and earth. Treasure, none mission, main mission, enter the holy realm within 1,000 years. Side mission, refine the Tower of Babel. No time limit. Elixir, 11 mind control pills, 5639 mind control pills. Just as Lin Ray was about to take a closer look, his vision suddenly turned black. When the light appeared again, it was his own information. Looking at the information that suddenly appeared, Lin Ray was stunned. What the F***ck is going on? Looking at his own information, Lin Ray was stunned. What the F***ck, what's going on? Xia Mei sneered. Looking at Lin Ray's confused look, the little dragon appeared in front of Lin Ray and said, "Don't worry, it's nothing. The system just notified you that you have a chance to subdue one of your battle pets." A chance to subdue one of my battle pets? Looking at the little dragon, Lin Ray repeated. It had been a long time since this happened to his battle pets. Ever since he got Crimson Flame, it never happened again. Yes, subduing a battle pet. The little dragon nodded. Ding, found a strong vitality. As for whether to investigate? Ding, mission, accept. Subdue a battle pet. If it is not completed in a short time, the system will continue to reward. What the F***ck, this is a naked kidnapping. Hearing the system prompt, Linley was stunned for a moment. Faced with this sudden quest, Linley hurriedly nodded. Alright, since that's the case, I accept. Ding, congratulations to the host for accepting the mission. Next, the system will monitor the host's shadow 360 degrees without any blind spots until the mission is completed and submitted. Still monitor? This time, Lin Ray's face flashed with displeasure. For the system to monitor, Lin Ray didn't expect at all, but now it was too late to regret. He had already agreed. In the end, Lin Ray silently ended the conversation. He didn't want to say anything, he was afraid of being angered to death. Chapter 1001. He didn't say anything. He didn't know what to say. Lin Ray could only agree with the system's monitoring. After all, he had accepted the task. If he rejected the task, he didn't know what would happen. Forget it. He shook his head fiercely, as if he wanted to throw away all those troublesome things. Looking up at the stage, Lin Rei vaguely felt that under the black cloth, a heartbeat was faintly echoing throughout the Donglai pavilion. Yes, it's the heartbeat. No, this heartbeat couldn't be the sound of a captured beast. What was going on? Vaguely, Lin Rei felt that something was wrong. Generally speaking, captured beasts would have all their abilities to move sealed. Even their heartbeat would become extremely weak. Yes, although the heartbeat Linley had just heard was very weak, this weak heartbeat gave Linley a feeling of strength amidst its wretchedness. This didn't seem like the heartbeat of a captured demonic beast at all. Feeling that something was wrong, Lin Rei turned his head with vigilance and reminded his wife, "Be careful later. There may be trouble here." Huh? Trouble? Hearing Lin Rei's sudden words, Ying and Bing were stunned. Their faces were full of doubts. Yes, trouble. Let's not talk about other things first. Just be careful later. Remember, no matter what happens, stay by my side. As long as you stay by my side, you will be safe. Do you hear me? Unknowingly, a handful of dog food was thrown out without warning. This made Ying and Bing blush and nod repeatedly. Yes, I know. Well, that's good. Seeing the two women nod in agreement, Linley relaxed. His gaze once more focused on the black cloth on the stage. What lay beneath the black cloth? Lin Rei's heart was filled with curiosity. Ding, found a pet that can be subdued. Does the system want to subdue it? What the hell? Subdue a pet? The sudden notification made Lin Rei a little confused, but when he looked at the black cloth, he instantly understood and nodded. Yes, yes, yes. Lin Rei didn't really want to subdue them. He just didn't want to be monitored by the system. Moreover, if he didn't subdue it as soon as possible, he was afraid that the system would cause some trouble in the future. By then, it would be too late for regrets. Ding! Taming mission activated. The host has 6 hours to tame the battle pet, otherwise bear the consequences yourself. F***ck, hearing the system's words, Linley couldn't help but curse. His face suddenly changed. Just as he had thought, the system was up to something again. Attention, pay attention to where the host is. If you attack the system verbally, you will be responsible for the consequences. Lin Rei didn't say anything else. As the saying goes, the more you say, the more mistakes you make. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold himself back and would say what was on his mind. He didn't spout nonsense in his own system because time was limited. He stared at the black cloth, waiting for the moment the black cloth was lifted. He would make his move. On the stage, Lao Ding looked at the confused eyes of the people below. A mysterious smile appeared on his face. He then said, "Okay, this is the last item of this auction. At the same time, it is also the untainted ancient species that everyone has been talking about. What I want to say is that you guys guessed right. This thing is indeed an untainted ancient species, and it is an extraordinary existence." As soon as he said that, a huge uproar was set off in the hall. A wave of discussion was completely set off. Then lift the cloth and let us see. Yeah, Lao Ding, can you not be so slow? Hurry up and lift the black cloth. Lift it. Lift it. One by one, the voices were heard. In the end, everyone's voices came to the same channel. The voices were like a tidal wave, surging and surging, causing one's soul to tremble. Looking at the actions of the people below, Lao Ding smiled even more. At this moment, the people in front of him were no longer the fellow Taoists that he spoke of. At this moment, in his eyes, these fellow Taoists had become sparkling golden divine crystals. And this was the effect that he wanted. Only this way, his item would be more valuable, and only this way, his item would be more expensive. After calculating the time, Lao Ding knew that the time had come. He immediately waved his hand and said loudly, "Everyone, since you want to see it so much, I will not neglect your face." He turned around and looked at the attendant behind him. He nodded and said, "Next, let's lift the mysterious black cloth." Wow, the hall was in an uproar again. Another wave of discussion surged. Everyone's faces were filled with excitement and enthusiasm. "Open! Open! Open!" they all said in unison. They all wanted to see that thing immediately. In this situation, they were just short of rushing in. With a swoosh, the black cloth was lifted. A small dog appeared in front of everyone. When everyone saw the original appearance of the thing under the black cloth, a wave of jealousy surged up from the bottom of their hearts. This is a freaking ancient remnant species. Does this mean that you are the guard dog in my backyard? Looking at this dog-shaped ancient remnant species, everyone's original interest and excitement completely disappeared at this moment. At this moment, a middle-aged man who seemed to have a lot of strength stood up. He looked at the dog on the stage and glared at Lao Ding. He opened his mouth and scolded, "What are you trying to do? Is it fun to play with us? Don't think that just because your Dong Lai Pavilion is powerful, I won't dare to touch you. Do you know the consequences of provoking a first-rate power in Yen City?" A series of threatening words appeared. In the next moment, one person opened his mouth and spoke one after another. "Lao Ding, what is your Dong Lai Pavilion trying to do? Playing with so many of us like this. Do you know that you are trying to incite public anger?" In an instant, threatening words appeared one after another. On the stage, Lao Ding, who was originally full of smiles, instantly collapsed. The aura on his body also turned from gentle to cold. His cold eyes swept across the crowd below. He then scolded coldly, "Are you all crazy? You are right. Although my Dong Lai Pavilion is not powerful, it is not necessary for you all to do this because it is a waste of time. I told you before that this thing is indeed an ancient remnant species. Naturally, it is not fake. Who do you think has the time to play with you all? This old man's time is very precious." With one sentence, everyone present was stunned. Lao Ding, who had always been gentle, had now become a person that everyone did not recognize. However, at this moment, no one noticed that when Lin Rei, who was sitting in the corner, saw the black dog's words the moment the black cloth was lifted, a terrifying pressure swarmed towards Lin Rei like an emperor descending. Hiss, this pressure, feeling the pressure from the aura of death, Lin Rei's body trembled and he took a step back. "What's wrong, husband?" On the side, Ying noticed her husband's reaction. She hurriedly stepped forward to support Lin Rei and asked with concern. What a terrifying pressure, as if it came from hell. The aura of death made my divine soul tremble. Lin Rei did not have the chance to answer Ying's question and secretly muttered to himself. The scene was extremely tense, especially Lin Rei. Looking at the big black dog, he knew that things were definitely not simple. "TSK, I didn't expect the devourer to be arrested. If this news spreads, I'm afraid those old guys in the Hongmeng realm will go crazy." "What? Devourer?" Just as Lin Rei was panicking, he heard the little dragon's voice in his head. From the little dragon's words, Lin Rei extracted some important information. Yes, devourer, a kind of existence that only exists in legends. They are very powerful and can devour the sky and the earth. No one dares to provoke them, especially their race. If their race were to know that one of their kind was locked in a cage, I'm afraid the entire divinity would be turned into nothingness. Then the system asked me to tame a battle pet. Do you think I can tame such a horrifying thing? Lin Rei knew that he had no way to deal with this kind of existence. Besides, when encountering something of this level, what were you thinking about instead of running away? Seeing that Lin Rei was so timid, the little dragon snorted and a glint of disappointment flashed across its face. Since the system asked you to tame it, it means that the system believes you can do it. Otherwise, the system wouldn't have given you a task so casually. Look at you. You haven't even started. What's wrong? Scared? After being scolded by the system, Lin Rei's face turned red. As a man, as a strong person, how could he admit that he was scared? Lin Rei, of course, shook his head and refuted. Scared? What a joke. The Emperor is a saint with the supreme physique of Hongmeng. Do you think that I, who is so strong and has so many advantages, will be afraid of a demon beast? Lin Rei said while his heart was beating like a drum. His back was already soaked in sweat. It would be a lie if he said that he wasn't scared. The other party was a devourer, the strongest and most mysterious race in Hongmeng. How could Lin Rei compare to it? TSK, I'm too lazy to care about you. As the little dragon attached to the system, it was very clear about Lin Rei's inner voice and thoughts. Regarding this point, the little dragon was too lazy to care about it. Looking up at the devourer lying in the cage, the devourer was currently in the appearance of a black dog. His appearance was very ordinary. Perhaps if he was thrown into a pack of dogs, no one would think that he was one of the most mysterious species in Hongmeng. At this moment, the black dog seemed to have sensed Lin Li's gaze. Its expression froze for a moment before it opened its languid eyelids and met Lin Li's gaze. A strange look appeared in its eyes before it closed them again and returned to its usual calmness. However, facing the devourer's gaze, Lin Rei felt uncomfortable. When Lin Rei looked at the devourer, he felt that his soul was being devoured by some kind of power, as if it would break out of his body at any time. In just an instant, it gave Lin Rei such a feeling. This made Lin Rei dumbfounded. F***ck, how the F***ck am I supposed to subdue this? Just one look and it's so strong, how am I supposed to subdue it? He roared in his heart, but there was no expression on his face. He didn't want the little dragon to look down on him. However, he forgot that the little dragon could hear his thoughts. In the audience, the scene was very quiet. Everyone was listening to Lao Ding's words. Everyone knew about the change in Lao Ding. Maybe they didn't really know this Lao Ding from the Donglai Pavilion before. On the stage, seeing that the audience was quiet, Lao Ding recovered his gentleness. He smiled and said, "Okay, actually, don't look at the appearance. This kind of power is very strong. Even if you use a divine weapon, you won't be able to do any damage to it." Perhaps to make everyone believe and pay, Lao Ding took out a supreme-grade divine weapon and let everyone verify the authenticity of the sword. After everyone verified it, he turned to the devourer and used all his cultivation. He poured his cultivation into the sword and blasted it at the devourer. F***ck, is this for real? Yeah, don't kill him in one go. Seeing Lao Ding's actions, everyone couldn't help but close their eyes. They didn't want to watch. However, some people were excited. It wasn't because they knew the identity of the black dog, but because they had already imagined the bloody scene in their minds. Bang, clang. The sound of metal colliding rang in the Donglai Pavilion. Lao Ding waved the sword and stabbed the devourer's abdomen. However, the bloody scene in the audience's minds didn't appear. Instead, in the eyes of the crowd, they saw an expression of utter disbelief. The moment the sword stabbed the devourer, it stopped abruptly and couldn't go any further. At this moment, the scene became extremely quiet. Their expressions were filled with fear as they looked at this scene. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Did you see that? Seeing everyone's reaction, Lao Ding knew that the result he wanted had appeared. I'm not lying to everyone, but I'm telling the truth. This demonic beast is indeed an untainted ancient species. Lao Ding was now waiting for the fish to take the bait. However, other than Lin Rei, the others didn't notice one thing. It wasn't anything else. After the devourer felt Lao Ding's provocation, a murderous intent flashed. Although it was only for a moment and the devourer hit it perfectly, he still couldn't escape Lin Rei's eyes. Ha, ignorant. Looking at the crowd, Lin Rei sneered. His expression was filled with cruelty. He knew that if this continued, the devourer would sooner or later go on a killing spree. Although he didn't understand why the devourer was captured, he knew that the dignity of an expert couldn't be trampled on, even if the devourer was a demonic beast. Now, let's start. The starting price for the untainted ancient species is 30 million high-grade divine crystals. Each bid must not be less than 5 million. Let's start the auction. The highest bidder wins. 30 million? Why don't you just rob? At this moment, the crowd couldn't remain calm. 30 million was a huge sum for a sect. Even if you were a first-grade sect, it would be very difficult to take out 30 million. 35 million. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence of the scene. The shocking number of 35 million appeared, and the scene instantly exploded. Who? Who is it? How can he be so powerful? 35 million? Which sect is this? Yeah, who is it? Can you come out and meet us? Hey, fellow Taoist who bid 35 million, I wonder if your sect still needs to recruit new members? Let me introduce myself. I'm a monarch god and I'm very powerful. I wonder if, piss off, piss off. You still have the nerve to say that? Who would want someone like you who would jump ship as long as they give you some money? At this moment, the crowd began to clamor. At this moment, everyone's gaze was no longer on the devourer on the stage. Instead, it was on the person who bid 35 million high-grade divine crystals. Chapter 1002. Lao Ding's expression darkened when he saw that the momentum he had started had been completely disrupted by the person who had just placed a bid. However, Lao Ding could not do anything because of the situation. In the end, he could only chuckle as he looked at Lin Rei in the corner. However, the person who had placed a bid of 35 million was naturally Lin Rei. Although he was a little afraid of the devourer, he would still cook since he had promised the system because the consequences were waiting for him. As long as he failed to complete the system's mission, he would have to bear the consequences himself. Lin Rei knew that these consequences were extremely terrifying. He might not be able to bear them. As for the devourer, how would he know if it was impossible without even trying? What if he succeeded? At that time, he would have a devourer as his battle pet. Lin Rei would probably be the only person in the entire Hongmeng realm who could do that. When he thought about how he had walked the saints' world with the devourer beast by his side and how those old bastards from the Holy Lands and God Emperors had stared at him in shock, Lin Li couldn't help but smile. He raised his head and met Lao Ding's eyes. They locked eyes for an instant before looking away. An amused smile flashed across his face. 35 million. 35 million. Are there any higher bids? Lao Ding knew that he could not stop the discussion below. In the end, he could only use his voice to pull the crowd back to reality. The entire place fell silent. After a long time, a reply was given. 35 million going once. Lao Ding looked at the crowd below with anticipation. He hoped that a few more people would step forward to bid. After all, only the Donglai Pavilion would benefit in the end. 35 million going twice. A trace of disappointment flashed through Lao Ding's eyes when he saw the silence below. This was a little different from what he had expected. Could it be that today, 40 million? Just as Lao Ding was thinking to himself, a voice suddenly broke the silence and caused an uproar. What the F***? 40 million? Who is this? There are still people bidding for it. Motherf***, crazy, crazy, crazy. This is F*** King crazy. Over 40 million to buy an invulnerable black dog? How F*** King rich do they have to be to do this? Excessive, this is simply too excessive. You have so many divine crystals, but you don't know how to give them to the poor. You actually bought a black dog. Yeah, I agree. It's too hateful. At this moment, all kinds of discussions about the 40 million people who had made a move emerged one after another. At this moment, the happiest person was Lao Ding. Since someone was bidding, it meant that he could earn more. How could he not be happy? 40 million, is there anyone else for 40 million? Is there anyone higher? This time, Lao Ding was full of energy. His voice was even louder than when he gave birth to his own child. He was elated. 40 million? Hearing the bid of 40 million, Lin Rei raised his head and scanned his surroundings. He wanted to find out where the person who had made the bid of 40 million was. He wanted to know who it was that had not made a move earlier. Only when he was about to obtain the black dog did he make a move. Was he trying to provoke him? 45 million. After failing to find out where that person was, Lin Rei finally opened his mouth again. He was determined to find out who that person was. Of course, his purpose was very simple. He merely wanted to see if there was anyone else who was bidding for the black dog. 45 million, is there anyone else for 45 million? 45 million, the atmosphere was extremely heated. The previously quiet atmosphere disappeared. However, Lin Rei did not pay attention to it. He released his divine sense and enveloped the entire place. He wanted to find out who it was that was bidding against him. Sure enough, right after Lin Rei thought of that, the voice from before sounded again, 55 million. F***, sure. Since you want to play, Emperor will play with you. Seeing that the other party was bidding, Lin Rei was intrigued. At the same time, his divine sense enveloped everyone in the place. Of course, he could see the person who had spoken very clearly. The person who was bidding against him was a middle-aged man. He was surrounded by guards. He was obviously a disciple of a sect. His strength was not bad. He was almost at the Divine Lord level. As for the middle-aged man, he was slightly stronger. He was already at the peak of the Divine Lord level. Looking at them, Lin Rei opened his mouth again, 75 million. This time, Lin Rei was not bidding for the black dog. His purpose was purely to annoy the other party. Hiss, the moment the word 75 million appeared, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. 75 million high-grade divine crystals. This was an astronomical figure in the East Arrival Pavilion. 75 million. It's actually reached a high price of 75 million. I wonder if there are any higher bids. The highest bidder wins. At this moment, the middle-aged man who had made the previous bid appeared in Linley's mind. After hearing this price, he had a bitter look on his face. He hadn't expected Linley to lower the price so much. However, the bitterness disappeared in an instant. It was replaced by a smear of difficulty. It was as if he was determined to win the devourer. Lin Rei was stunned when he saw that. Various thoughts filled his head. What's going on? Does this person know that the black dog is the devourer? Has he come especially for him? This was because the middle-aged man was extremely determined. He was so determined that Lin Rei could not help but think that way. Yeah, that makes sense. The little dragon said, after all, the devourer can be found in the scripture pavilions of some sacred grounds in the saints' world. It's possible that he knows about it and has come for the devourer. Think about it. If you can use the blood exchange technique to transplant the devourer's bloodline into your body, just think about it. This. At that moment, Lin Rei became rather stunned by the little dragon's words. If it were him, Lin Rei would never do something like that. There had to be something wrong with his head to use the blood of a demonic beast instead of his own blood. But just because Lin Li thought this way didn't mean that others thought the same. After all, for the sake of training to reach the pinnacle of power, for the sake of power, for the sake of being able to control the life and death of others, for the sake of not being trampled upon by others, they would do anything. They would do things like murder, arson, rape, and pillage, let alone a mere blood exchange technique. Heh, you didn't expect that, did you? The little dragon chuckled softly when he saw Lin Rei's shocked expression. However, there was a hint of bitterness in his chuckle. To be able to exchange blood with a devourer, once the blood exchange is successful, the person who possesses the devourer's blood will possess everything of the devourer clan, including their powerful physical body and their most special devouring power. Oh? Devouring power? Then my devourer of the heavens is. Suddenly, when he heard the little dragon mention the devouring power, Lin Rei could not help but think of the devourer of the heavens that he had learned. At that moment, Lin Rei began to suspect that the devourer of the heavens that he had learned was the cultivation method of the devourer clan. TCH, the devourer clan? A hint of disdain flashed through the little dragon's eyes as if he looked down on the devourer clan. Yeah, why, isn't it? Upon seeing the little dragon's reaction, Lin Rei knew that he might have made a mistake. Of course not. Even though the devourer clan possesses the devouring power, do you think they will be as powerful as your devourer of the heavens? Without waiting for Lin Rei to speak, the little dragon continued with a tone full of disdain. It's not that I look down on the devourer clan, but even if they were here, they would have to bow down to the devourer of the heavens. Lin Rei was speechless. Lin Rei believed the little dragon's words because he had witnessed how powerful the little dragon was, so he believed that the little dragon had surpassed the existence of this world and had reached an unimaginable level where even the great Tao could not restrain it. Alright, I've said enough to you today. I still have to remind you that you only have 4 more hours before the time limit for you to connect with the system is up. You have to hurry, or else. Heh, a voice that made Lin Rei feel gloomy came from the little dragon's mouth. All of a sudden, Lin Rei leaned to the side and shook his head to abandon everything. He turned his gaze to the devourer and stared at him. Lin Rei knew that he had to subdue him today no matter what. As the old saying goes, it's either you die or I die. Lin Rei was very clear about this. He didn't want to die. This world was still so good. There were still so many places that he had yet to visit and even higher realms that he had yet to reach. He couldn't say that. However, on the other side, when Lin Rei called out the price to 70 million, the middle-aged man's expression was firm and he spoke without hesitation. 90 million. Hiss, when these words came out, everyone could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. 90 million. This had already exceeded the scope of everyone's thinking. Even the top powers in Yen City could not sit still the instant they heard this number and fell from their chairs. 90 million. Alright. Looking at the scene, Lin Rei smiled. A hint of disdain emerged on his face. Since you want it, I'll give it to you. At this moment, Lin Rei chose to give up. It wasn't that he didn't want to. It was because he felt that the energy within the devourer's body was restless. It was as if a ferocious beast was about to rush out at any moment. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. After all, I'm not in a hurry. A strange smile emerged on his face. Just when everyone was excited, they didn't know that one of their feet had already stepped into the 9 underworlds. At this moment, everyone was only shocked by the huge amount of 90 million. However, no one noticed that the devourer was sweeping his gaze over. Lowly humans. Originally, I only wanted to rest for a bit. However, you arrogantly wanted to use me as an auction item. You really don't know the meaning of death. Looking at the lowly and pitiful humans in front of him, the killing intent in the devourer's heart soared. Originally, the devourer came to the god realm for unknown reasons. Originally, coming to a low-level plane already made the devourer very unhappy. Originally, with the attitude of taking things as they came, he found a cave to sleep in. However, unexpectedly, when he woke up again, he was already captured and brought to the Donglai pavilion. The originally playful devourer only wanted to play around. However, he didn't expect that the lowly humans in his eyes would treat him as prey and wantonly auction him. This caused his dignity as a devourer to be tarnished. At this moment, he decided that all the people in front of him must die. Not a single one of them would be left alive. 90 million. 90 million first place, lowly humans. You actually dare to use me as an auction item. You have guts. Just when Lao Ding was speaking excitedly, a voice that seemed to come from hell exploded in the Donglai pavilion. It was filled with coldness, blood, and gloom. Heh, are you going to make a move? Hearing the devourer's voice that was filled with killing intent, Lin Rei smiled. He understood that the devourer was going to make a move. Relax, I'll put you away. When the matter is settled, I'll let you out. Don't worry, it's only 6 hours. I won't make you wait too long. Feeling the devourer's killing intent, Lin Rei said to his wife and children. Okay, got it. As Lin Rei's wife, the first thing was to know when to advance and when to retreat. Ying and the other 2 women did very well. In the next moment, without any hesitation or words, the 2 women disappeared on the spot with a wave of his hand. The crowd didn't see this scene, so they didn't know that someone was missing. At this moment, everyone's attention shifted to the stage, to the black dog next to Lao Ding. Everyone was shocked that the black dog could speak human language. Moreover, the killing intent in its voice was clear. The moment the black dog spoke, the temperature in the hall dropped to freezing point. It gave people the feeling that they were in a 10,000-year-old ice cellar, causing them to shiver. Looking at the black dog, Lao Ding's body trembled. His face was filled with shock and fear. As the person who had always been guarding the black dog, he never knew that the black dog could speak human language. Moreover, after hearing the black dog's words, a fear that came from the depths of his soul emerged. Are you surprised? Looking at Lao Ding, the killing intent in Devourer's eyes was uncontrollable. Regarding Lao Ding, the Devourer had already placed him on his death list. Since you're surprised, let's calculate how much we owe each other. With that, the Devourer took a step forward and arrived beside Lao Ding in an instant. Without giving him time to react, it raised its front paw and slammed it towards Lao Ding's spiritual palace. Not good. Feeling the cold killing intent in front of him, Lao Ding felt that something was wrong. He immediately wanted to react. However, the difference in cultivation between the two of them was too great. The Tao was like a chasm, and he couldn't do anything. Kacha, a cracking sound came from Lao Ding's body. Suddenly, a terrifying wave of spiritual energy was emitted from Lao Ding's body and drifted into the air. Good things can't be wasted. Although it's very little, it's at least 50% essence. Looking at the ownerless spiritual energy in the air, the black dog's eyes flashed. Devour. In the next moment, a scene that made Lin Rei's eyes light up appeared. He saw the black dog open its mouth, and a terrifying devouring force emerged. In the air, the ownerless spiritual energy all froze in place when it felt the terrifying suction force. In the next moment, the spiritual energy seemed to have gone crazy and swarmed into the black dog's mouth. Burp, a long burp came from the black dog's mouth. The scene was very quiet. Rather than saying it was quiet, it was more accurate to say that no one knew what had happened. Ah, taunting. Chapter 1003. A blood-curdling scream resounded through the entire Donglai pavilion. At this moment, the crowd couldn't help but turn their gazes toward the source of the scream. In the next instant, when the crowd's gazes landed on the source of the scream, everyone present, apart from Lin Rei, was filled with terror. They were rooted to the spot and did not move at all. It wasn't that they didn't want to. Rather, they didn't dare to. Imagine, a divine sovereign realm cultivator, a top-notch cultivator stronger than them, was already kneeling on the ground with blood gushing out of his mouth before they even knew what was going on. However, what shocked the crowd even more was that they couldn't sense any cultivation from Lao Ding's body. It was as if Lao Ding was an ordinary person. However, the crowd understood that Lao Ding was still a divine sovereign realm expert just a moment ago. Yet, he was reduced to such a state. The only explanation was that he was crippled. At this moment, apart from Lao Ding, the only other person on the stage was the black dog. When they recalled the black dog's words, the crowd thought of a terrifying outcome. Whoosh, whoosh. When the crowd thought of this possibility, they turned their heads and secretly glanced at the black dog. They were extremely shocked. Could it be that Lao Ding's current state was caused by him? When they thought of this, the crowd didn't dare to continue thinking about it. When they thought of how they were mocking such a terrifying existence, regret surged into their hearts. Some of them even had the thought of killing themselves. Motherfucker. If I knew, I wouldn't have come. I didn't get what I wanted. Now, whether I'm alive or not is one thing. When they thought of what happened to Lao Ding, the crowd felt a lingering fear. When some of the more cowardly cultivators thought of what they had done earlier, they couldn't help but fall to the ground on their buttocks. Their faces were as pale as corpses. If this was in the past, there would definitely be people coming forward to mock them. However, now, who was the one mocking whom? No, my cultivation, my. On the stage, that person was kneeling on the ground with one hand on the ground and the other hand on his divine palace. His face was pale and malevolent. Their expressions were filled with hatred and murderous intent. At the same time, in the depths of their expressions, there was even more fear and unwillingness. He hadn't expected that the black dog he had captured would be so powerful. He had thought that the black dog only had a strong physical body, so he had wanted to take advantage of it to make a fortune. He had never expected that he would end up like this. A bitter smile appeared on his face as he mocked himself. Alas, I didn't expect that I would be destroyed by my own hands in the end. If I knew you were so powerful, I wouldn't have provoked you back then, and I wouldn't have brought you out of that forbidden area. At this moment, Lao Ding thought about a lot of things. He thought about the terrible things he had done in the past. At this moment, he really regretted it. He regretted everything he had done. Oh, are you regretting it? Looking at Lao Ding with an amused smile, Devourer's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he sneered, "Humans are like this. In front of those weaker than you, you are very strong, and even doing evil is the truth. However, in front of someone as powerful as you, you actually did such a thing. Is it useful?" Dumbfounded, Lao Ding hadn't thought that the black dog in front of him would be so smart. He was unmoved by force or persuasion. Looking at the black dog's expression, he knew that he was most likely going to die today. Die. Looking at Lao Ding, a murderous intent flashed across Devourer's eyes. He raised his paw and was about to slap Lao Ding to death. No, you shouldn't kill me first. You should kill the person who wanted to buy you. Just when the paw was a palm away from Lao Ding, it suddenly stopped in the air and didn't move forward. That makes sense. The person who had bid 90 million was stunned by this sudden sentence. Fear surged into his heart. At this moment, he hated Lao Ding to the bone. He hadn't thought that he would be played like this. Not good. Just when the middle-aged man was thinking, a cold gaze swept across him and the others. He knew that they were most likely going to die. Because he was very clear about the Devourer's background, he knew that if the Devourer wanted him dead, he wouldn't be able to live to see the sun tomorrow. There was a saying in ancient times, if the King of Hell wanted you to die at midnight, he wouldn't let you live until dawn. In the middle-aged man's world, the Devourer was the King of Hell, and he was the little demon that was controlled by the King of Hell. Just when the middle-aged man was in extreme fear, the Devourer's gaze swept past him and didn't linger on him. Suddenly, he broke out in cold sweat. However, his heart relaxed a lot because he still had time to plan. You are different from them. I don't understand why you want to stay in the divine world with your strength. Is there any meaning to it? In the end, the Devourer's gaze landed on Lin Rei. With regards to Lin Rei's cultivation, the Devourer was able to see through it with a single glance. Especially earlier, the Devourer and Lin Rei had been paying attention to each other since the beginning. Thus, in the Devourer's opinion, the person who needed to be dealt with the least should be Lin Rei, the cultivator who was at the initial stage of the Sage Realm. The reason for that was because the Devourer felt a trace of dangerous aura from Lin Rei. It was an aura that he hadn't felt for a very long time. However, the Devourer's words caused the crowd to be puzzled. As he spoke, the Devourer looked over. When he saw Lin Rei, the crowd became silent. They had never seen the person mentioned by the Devourer before. Furthermore, they knew that this person was very unfamiliar. He didn't seem to be from Yen City. He was definitely an outsider. Sensing the crowd's hesitant gazes, Lin Rei ignored them. His gaze was fixed on the Devourer. A smile appeared on the corners of Lin Rei's mouth. However, this smile was so eerie and terrifying to the crowd. It made their hair stand on end. The Devourer, the most mysterious race in the Hongmeng realm. He possesses the bloodline of the Devourer. He is indeed very strong. With a single sentence, Lin Rei revealed the Devourer's origin. The crowd was confused by this. However, when the middle-aged man who had bid 90 million heard Lin Rei reveal the Devourer's identity, his expression suddenly changed and became gloomy. I didn't expect that I'm not the only one who knows the Devourer's identity. This person knows it so clearly as well. Who is he? How does he know the Devourer's identity? He doesn't seem to be from the sacred world. How does he know the Devourer's identity? Looking at Lin Rei, the middle-aged man's mind was filled with questions. He felt that Lin Rei was very mysterious. However, on the other side, Lin Rei didn't know the answer to the middle-aged man's questions. At this moment, he didn't want to know. Facing such a strong opponent, Lin Rei couldn't relax. He was afraid that he would die. Furthermore, the system didn't give him much time. He had already wasted some time previously. If he didn't hurry up, the only outcome left for him was death. The Devourer wasn't surprised that Lin Rei knew his identity. Furthermore, he had never hidden his identity. Looking at Lin Rei, his eyes flashed. You're very smart. I don't know where you saw this sovereign's information, but if you saw this sovereign's information, you should know that this sovereign is very strong. So strong that you can't resist. A proud expression appeared on the Devourer's face. Regarding the Devourer, Lin Rei couldn't help but think of the little dragon. You are indeed very strong. The Devourer didn't dare to deny this point. The Devourer was indeed very strong. If he didn't admit it, he wouldn't have made Lin Rei so afraid and terrified. On the other hand, as Master Dan, Lin Rei also knew that although the Devourer was very strong, he had some injuries on his body. Although they weren't fatal, they affected his strength. Therefore, for the current Devourer, as long as he raised his mental strength to the limit and acted carefully, everything would be fine. The injuries on your body are very serious. If you don't treat them quickly, then who knows how much strength you have left in the end. Moreover, if the old geezers in the Holy World and the Hongmeng realm find out about your injuries, I'm afraid they'll break through the barrier to find you and exchange blood with you. You. Listening to Lin Rei's clear and logical explanation, the Devourer's expression changed again and again. He had never mentioned his injuries in front of outsiders, but this person in front of him, a thought came to his mind. He looked at Lin Rei and said, You're an alchemist? Ha, alchemist. Tisk tsk, that's a good name. However, I still like people calling me Master Dan. You broke through from the Dan realm to the Saint realm? The Devourer was a little in disbelief. Although he didn't know much about alchemy, he still knew about the division of alchemists. Although Master Dan wasn't the highest among alchemists, it was still a very high-level existence. Even in the Holy World, there weren't many Master Dan. However, in the immortal realm, he actually found one. How could he not be shocked? Lin Rei felt very good about the Devourer's shock. After all, this could be considered a compliment. Looking at the Devourer's shocked expression, Lin Rei didn't deny it. He nodded and said, That's right. The Emperor has indeed broken through to Master Dan. Otherwise, he wouldn't know that the Great Devourer would have such pain in his eyes. Humph. Lin Rei's proud expression made the Devourer very unhappy. He didn't expect to be mocked by a little guy from the immortal realm today. All right. Since you're done, it's my turn. Looking at the Devourer, Lin Rei was neither servile nor overbearing. The Devourer appreciated this. Your matter? Doubt flashed through his eyes. That's right. My matter. Looking at the Devourer, Lin Rei said, My matter is actually very simple. I'll give you freedom. However, the important thing is that you have to submit to my clan. Of course, I know that if your clan wants to recognize a master, you have to get the other party's approval. As for the Devourer, Lin Rei understood that the Overlord wanted him to submit. Tsk. Hearing Lin Rei's condition, the Devourer couldn't help but laugh. He was sure that this was the funniest joke he had heard in all these years. Asking a Devourer to submit to a human was something that had never happened in history. Therefore, the Devourer could only laugh. At the same time, the Devourer put Lin Rei on his must-kill list. Looking at Lin Rei, a terrifying killing intent soared into the sky. Lin Rei was stunned. The primal chaos dragon spear appeared. Facing the Devourer, Lin Rei instinctively became vigilant. Because of the Devourer's strength, he had to be serious. Come on, let me see the powerful devouring power of your clan. Let's see if your devouring power is stronger or if the Emperor's cultivation technique is stronger. After saying that, Lin Rei placed the spear behind his back. The devouring heaven execution was instantly activated by Lin Rei. He began to accumulate power and attack at any time. Devouring power? The Devourer's expression was filled with disdain towards the devouring power that Lin Rei mentioned. In his heart, the Devourer clan was the strongest in terms of devouring power. Therefore, the Devourer felt that Lin Rei's words were extremely laughable. As the old saying goes, trying to show off one's strength in front of an expert. This was what the Devourer was thinking at the moment. Believe it or not, just don't be too shocked when the time comes. Lin Rei understood that it was normal for the devourer to not believe him. It moved. Suddenly, a terrifying devouring power appeared in the surroundings. Lin Rei didn't panic at all. It was as if he didn't put this power in his eyes. TSK TSK TSK, so this is your devouring power. Not bad. Feeling the terrifying power around him, Lin Rei said calmly. Although Lin Rei appeared calm on the surface, he was panicking in his heart. The terrifying devouring power around him was too strong. This was just him using it. If he used any battle techniques or magic, he would be done for. Forget it, I don't care. Anyway, the little dragon said that the devouring power of the devouring heaven execution is very strong. It's just that Lin Rei neglected it before. Devouring the heavens and earth. Suddenly, the devouring heaven execution was activated in Lin Rei's body. The devouring power that he originally felt around him disappeared when he used the devouring heaven execution. There wasn't even a trace left behind. It was as if the devouring power had never appeared. Feeling that the devourer wasn't confident in his devouring power, he activated it again. This time, he didn't stay silent. He arrived at the alley facing Lin Rei. No, my devouring power can't be broken by others. The devourer stared at Lin Li in shock and confusion. For a moment, the devourer began to panic. He wasn't the only one who knew the devouring power. Even Lin Rei knew it. This made the devourer very puzzled. He didn't understand when Lin Rei's terrifying devouring power came. Sigh, how sad. Looking at the devourer, Lin Rei was in a very good mood. Thinking of how powerful his devouring heaven execution was, he couldn't help but wonder where this devouring heaven execution came from. Bastard, you can't have it. You can't. At this moment, the devourer seemed to have gone crazy. He mobilized all the cultivation in his body in order to see if Lin Rei knew how to devour or not. Die for me. In the next moment, the devourer's figure disappeared. Lin Rei was stunned. He immediately released his divine sense to search for the devourer's location. Found it. Feeling the devourer's figure in his mind, a smile appeared on his face. He raised his hand and activated the devouring heaven execution. Waves of devouring power that made the devourer gasp in surprise appeared. Feeling the devouring power, the devourer knew that Lin Rei really knew the devouring power. Moreover, the devouring power was even stronger than the devouring bloodline of his clan. Chapter 1004. Devour. He flashed to the devourer's side and circulated the devouring heaven art. He raised his hand and slapped at the devourer's head. When the devouring beast sensed the devouring power coming from above its head, a glint flashed across its eyes and an expression that was completely different from before appeared. TSK, you are indeed very strong. I didn't expect a human to have such a powerful devouring power. Looking up, the devourer did not panic. Instead, he smiled. This shouldn't be a bloodline talent. Cultivation method. Your devouring power comes from your cultivation method, right? Hearing the devourer's words, the hand paused in the air for a moment before attacking again. Lin Rei was only slightly surprised that the devourer had guessed that his devouring power came from his cultivation method. Lin Rei did not intend to hide his cultivation method. Looking at the devourer, Lin Rei was very calm. Then let's try it. Let's see which of our devouring powers is stronger. After saying that, Lin Rei's hand with the devouring power arrived at the devourer's head. Then let's try it. At this moment, the devourer moved. As the saying went, move like a rabbit and stay still like a virgin. When Lin Rei's hand was less than 1 centimeter away from the devourer tilted his head and easily dodged Lin Rei's attack. However, Lin Rei was shocked. He naturally did not want to give up. He moved forward and slapped again. This time, Lin Rei did not hide his cultivation base. The cultivation base of an early-stage Dao fruit saint was undoubtedly revealed by Lin Rei. This is the first time I've used my full strength in a battle. You should feel very honored. After saying that, he slapped again. This time, Lin Rei included a combat method in his devouring power. The devouring power is circulating so freely. It seems that you have been cultivating this cultivation method for a long time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like this. The devourer knew Lin Rei's every move like the back of his hand. He understood that if it weren't for the difference in their cultivation bases, he would have been defeated this time. If that really happened, the name of the Devourer clan would also be tainted with this insult. This was not what he wanted. However, the Devourer really coveted Lin Rei's devouring cultivation method. If he could combine the cultivation method with his devouring bloodline, with the power of his devouring bloodline, then, the Devourer felt very excited. It seemed as if he could feel the Devourer's devouring power. The Devourer, the feeling of being worshipped by others made his blood boiled. You're thinking too much. Looking at the Devourer, Lin Rei snorted and increased the intensity of his attacks. Although he didn't know what the Devourer was thinking, he knew that the Devourer must be plotting something in his mind. Clang! The primal chaos dragon spear moved. In Lin Rei's hand, the spear was like an extension of his arm. He moved it freely without any hesitation. Azure Dragon, appear! A low roar came from Lin Rei's mouth. Suddenly, a golden light shot out from the primal chaos dragon spear. Dragon's aura? Feeling the pressure from the golden light, the Devourer was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Rei to have the existence of the dragon race. What surprised the Devourer even more was that the dragon race wasn't the same as the dragon race. It was the dragon ancestor, the dragon ancestor. Roar! Dragon roars came out one after another. The 9 dragons roared together, shaking the world. Disaster was coming, 9 dragon ancestor. At this moment, other than shock, the Devourer didn't have any other emotions. 9 dragon ancestor. In his memory, there were only 4 dragon ancestors at the beginning of the world. Where did he go to steal the 5th one? And now, there were 9 of them. How could he not be puzzled and shocked? Kill them. Ignoring the Devourer's shock, Lin Rei ordered the 9 azure dragons above his head. His body instantly rushed out and took the lead. His imposing manner was unstoppable. Bam! 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 At this moment, a great battle of the century had begun. The original Donglai Pavilion had already turned into dust and no longer existed. Even this Yen city was now a battlefield in the eyes of Lin Rei and the Devourer. They even felt that this Yen city was a cage that bound them. There was a moment when they wanted to destroy it. However, Lin Rei was still fine, but the Devourer couldn't. After all, the more people they killed, the more negative karma they would have. This would be detrimental to their future breakthroughs. Collision after collision, intense battle after intense battle. All the cultivators in the entire Yen city and even the surrounding regions had sensed it and rushed over. In addition to the 9 azure dragons joining the battle, this battle had once again reached a higher level. At this moment, Lin Rei and the Devourer had already turned into a ray of light. In the eyes of the crowd, they could only see a few rays of light colliding, separating, and colliding again. Wave after wave of powerful pressure surged out. In the face of such an intense scene, the system seemed to be very quiet. Right now, on the surface of the water, it raised its head and looked at the battle between Lin Rei and the outside world. Its expression was filled with worry. Sigh. Brat, even if you were to increase your cultivation by a few levels, you still wouldn't be a match for the Devourer. That's right. The Devourer has already reached the Hongmeng realm. I don't know why he would appear in the divine realm. The system's voice transmitted into the little dragon's ears. You still have the nerve to say that. Hearing the system's voice, the little dragon was anxious. It no longer had its usual calm tone. Other than anger, there was nothing else. If you know the Devourer's cultivation, why did you still give him this mission? Don't you know that Lin Rei's current actions are like throwing an egg against a rock? He won't be able to withstand a single blow. Besides, look. Look at how Lin Rei is being played by the Devourer. This bastard didn't even use his full strength. Even if his body is injured, so what? After all, he's a cultivator of the Hongmeng realm. Do you think Lin Rei will be a match for him? Isn't he F***king courting death? Why would I still take action to subdue him as a battle pet? The system understood the little dragon's agitation very well. After all, the little dragon and Lin Rei had established a deep relationship. Seeing the little dragon so angry, the system laughed and said, "Okay, don't worry. No matter what, Lin Rei is the system's host. Do you think the system will push its host to death? 0-inch, Then what do you mean?" This time, Lin Rei reacted. Indeed, as the host, Lin Rei, the system naturally wouldn't let Lin Rei die. He still needs experience. Besides, don't you think that Lin Rei's current foundation is starting to be a little unstable? The system's voice sounded. Suddenly, the little dragon was startled and suddenly came to a realization. Indeed, as the system said, Lin Rei had been breaking through too quickly during this period of time, so much so that he didn't care about the problem of his foundation. If one looked carefully, they would be able to see that at this moment, Lin Rei's traces were starting to show signs of floating. If this situation continued to develop, the final result would be unimaginable for the little dragon. However, what did this have to do with letting the little dragon fight the Devourer? Could it be that this Devourer could solve the problem of Lin Rei's floating foundation? Seeing that the little dragon wasn't complaining like before, the system continued, so, in order to allow the host to have a strong cultivation base, the system previously calculated that the host wouldn't die this time, but would go to a low-level plane. There, he would be reborn and live a different life. After he has tasted all the joys and sorrows of the world and comprehended all the emotions in the world, when that time comes, his primordial spirit will return and his floating foundation will naturally be solved. The little dragon was terrified by the system's layout. It felt as if the wind was blowing on its balls. Rebirth, wasn't this just mercilessly kicking Lin Rei, who was standing at the peak of the 18th level? And rebirth, what would Ruo Lin's cultivation base be like if he was reborn? It wasn't easy for him to cultivate until now. If he was reborn, just the matter of cultivation base alone would be very difficult. You don't have to worry. Just as the little dragon was thinking, the system's voice sounded in the little dragon's ears. What I mean by rebirth is that after sealing Lin Rei's memories and sending his soul to the lower realm, he will experience the path of reincarnation and return to his original body after experiencing the tribulation. This won't have much impact on his cultivation base, but if there is an impact, then I can only say that after returning to Lin Rei, his cultivation base will be purer and his foundation will be stronger. Phew, that's good, that's good. Hearing the system's words, the little dragon, who was originally worried about Lin Rei, was relieved. He didn't want to see his friend leave just like that and his cultivation base disappear. But, thump. Now, the little dragon was most afraid that the system wouldn't be able to win against it, but there might be words like this. During the period of time that Linli is gone, it's very likely that we will temporarily enter a deep sleep. Thus, make some preparations. Xiaolong was speechless. The little dragon didn't like the system's startled look, but he still nodded in response. Yes, I understand. Don't worry. In the outside world, Lin Rei didn't know anything about the conversation between the system and the little dragon. If he knew, he would probably jump out and say something. At this moment, Lin Rei wasn't very relaxed. The more he fought with the devourer, the more serious Lin Rei's expression became. During this battle, Lin Rei gradually understood his own arrogance, especially after seeing that the devourer was injured. After this battle, Lin Rei understood that the gap between him and the devourer was huge, to the extent that he was a little afraid. It could be said that in front of the devourer, he was like a newborn baby, and the devourer was an adult. If he wanted to kill him, it would only take a blink of an eye. What level has your cultivation base reached? Why are you so strong? Besides, aren't you injured? Why are you still so strong? Why? At this moment, Lin Rei couldn't stay calm anymore. He screamed at the devourer. He didn't expect the devourer to be so strong that he couldn't fight back. Strong? The devourer didn't answer Lin Rei's question directly. Instead, he asked a question of his own. Although I don't want to admit it, your cultivation base is indeed very strong, and it's under the condition that you're injured. I'm even more curious about who injured you to this extent. At this moment, Lin Rei stopped fighting. He understood that with his strength, it was meaningless to continue fighting. Right now, Linli was very curious as to who had injured the devourer. Even someone as powerful as him had been injured. What level of cultivation did the person who had injured him have? Lin Rei didn't dare to imagine. He couldn't imagine how strong the other party's cultivation base was, but one thing he was sure of was that they weren't as strong as the little dragon. Although the pressure he felt from the devourer was unbearable, it was nothing compared to the pressure from the little dragon. TSK. There aren't many people in this world who can hurt me, and I wasn't injured by someone. Saying that, the devourer laughed at himself. This world has changed. Now, in your memories, there's only the God realm and the Holy realm. You don't know that there's a realm above the Holy realm. That realm is You're from the Hongmeng realm? At this moment, Lin Rei couldn't stay calm. He heard the system and the little dragon talk about the Hongmeng realm many times. However, from the information Lin Rei heard before, the Hongmeng realm was sealed. If that was the case, then the devourer was, suddenly, a thought appeared. Without any hesitation, he directly asked the devourer, "You couldn't have broken through the barrier that sealed the Hongmeng realm and been injured by it, right? You? Who are you?" At this moment, the one who was shocked wasn't Lin Rei, but the devourer. Very few people knew about the Hongmeng realm, and even fewer knew about the Hongmeng realm being sealed. However, the young man in front of him said that he was from the Hongmeng realm, and that he was injured after breaking through the barrier. This made the devourer wary. At this moment, the devourer's reaction gave Lin Rei the answer he wanted. It seems that I was right. The Hongmeng realm. I didn't expect you to break through the barrier that sealed the Hongmeng realm. I have to say that you're very strong. Even Shen couldn't do it. I didn't expect you to do it. Can I ask how you did it? The devourer looked at him doubtfully. Other than shock, the devourer didn't know how to express the shock and astonishment in his heart. The Hongmeng realm, the barrier that sealed it, and Sheng. Which one of these wasn't the most confidential information in this world? The devourer believed that the Hongmeng realm and the seal were obtained from some secret realm, but what about Sheng? This was a word that didn't even exist in the Holy Realm. How did the person in front of him know about it? At this moment, the way the devourer looked at Lin Rei changed. His disdain and contempt had turned into indifference and doubt. It was at this moment that the devourer acknowledged Lin Rei. Why, you're right. I do come from the Hongmeng realm, but I'm from the outermost region of the Hongmeng realm. The seal there is very weak. As he said that, the devourer seemed to sink into his memories. Back then, in order for me to leave, in order for me to preserve the bloodline of our devourer clan, my clan used everything we had to forcefully break open a crack in the barrier so that I could leave. Because of this matter, my devouring clan has suffered heavy casualties. Our vitality has been greatly damaged. Chapter 1005. Lin Rei was rather impressed by the devourer's words. Cutting off one's tail to survive was actually a good idea. But what made Lin Rei speechless was that wasn't his mission to unlock the big sister in the Hongmeng realm. Recalling the little dragon's words, Lin Rei was stunned. He didn't expect that someone would leave the Hongmeng realm so eagerly before he could unlock the seal. Looking at the devourer hand, Lin Rei wanted to ask about the Hongmeng realm because it would be a great help to him. After all, he would be heading to the Hongmeng realm in the future. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy to win 100 battles. It was never wrong to know something. Looking at the devourer, Lin Rei asked. I want to ask you about the Hongmeng realm. Just as Lin Rei asked, the little dragon and the system couldn't wait any longer. They didn't want to let Lin Rei know about the Hongmeng realm so soon. After all, it would only be disadvantageous to him. What should we do? Should we stop Lin Rei? Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon lifted its head and asked the system. Although the little dragon favored Lin Rei, it would never hesitate in the face of right and wrong. Stop? Yes, aren't you going to stop him? Aren't you afraid that he will find out about the Hongmeng realm? The little dragon was doubtful about the system's attitude. No, it's not that I'm not stopping him, but I think it's time for Lin Rei to leave and head to his path of training. The little dragon was speechless. After hearing the system's words, Xiaolong finally understood what the system meant when it said that it would not stop him. Indeed, he hadn't stopped Linli. Instead, he had directly demoted Linli to a mortal sister, making him immortal. Alright, the little dragon didn't stop the system's decision, and stood aside quietly, waiting for Lin Rei to leave. Reincarnation, return. Realm. In the outside world, Lin Rei was currently asking the devourer about the Hongmeng realm. He was completely unaware of what was happening in the system. Right at this moment, just as Lin Rei was about to continue asking questions, a wave of fear suddenly surged from the depths of his soul. His voice came to an abrupt halt. It was as if his entire body had been frozen in place. He stood there in a daze and did not speak again. His expression was filled with vigilance and fear. What's going on? Who is it that is so powerful, could it be? Suddenly, a figure appeared in Lin Rei's mind. He believed that this figure could make him feel fear, just like what was happening now. Of course, it was impossible for the devourer to emit such a level of fear. Besides, the devourer was right in front of him. If he wanted to do something, Lin Rei would be able to sense it. Little dragon, what's going on? Is it you? Lin Rei wanted to ask what was going on, but halfway through his sentence, his voice suddenly went silent. This time, he panicked. And he was sure that this matter was definitely related to the little dragon. Thinking about his own situation, and thinking about his two wives, Linli suddenly had a thought. Using what little power he had left, he released the Shadow Children from his system. Shadow, you and Ice quickly leave this place. Once you return to the sect, take good care of it, understand? Husband, you, his children, who were originally cultivating in the system space, suddenly saw the scene in front of them jump. When they saw Lin Rei, the two were excited, but these sudden words stunned the two women. Why didn't you say so earlier? Listen to me. Feeling the vitality in his body quickly being buried, he knew that he didn't have much time left. You don't have to worry about this. Take good care of it in the sect and wait for my return. When the time comes, we will go to the holy world together. However, during this period of time, you have to protect the sect and cultivate well. When I return, I will check. After speaking, Linley turned to look at the devourer. A smile appeared on his face as he said, I'm very happy to have met you. This battle was extremely valuable to me. Although I wasn't able to defeat you, the experience I gained is a true treasure trove. Don't worry, the Emperor of the Hongmeng realm will go. Moreover, the barrier there will be broken by the Emperor sooner or later, but your people will be free. You. Lin Rei suddenly acted like this, as if he was saying his last words. The devourer was baffled. Other than Lin Rei himself, no one else was aware of the fear in Lin Rei's body. Okay, Shadow, the two of you leave quickly. Remember, ask Yun, to call back all the disciples outside. All those who disobey will be killed without mercy. After saying that, the last bit of vitality in his body was taken away. Lin Rei knew that his time was up. Until now, he still didn't understand why the little dragon would do this. Until he knew that he wouldn't die. As for what would happen next, he didn't know. Under the gaze of everyone, Lin Rei, who was originally standing in the air, suddenly disappeared without a trace. It was as if he had never appeared. Husband? Husband, seeing Lin Rei disappear, the children of Shadow became anxious. How could they still care about the life and death of the people around them? Their cultivation instantly adjusted, and a huge pressure instantly crushed the entire Salt City. The gentlemen instantly covered the entire Salt City. They wanted to investigate Lin Rei's whereabouts. However, what made the two girls helpless was that there wasn't the slightest trace of Lin Rei in the entire Salt City. There wasn't even the slightest trace of his aura left. As for the devourer, he was also very shocked when he saw Lin Rei disappear. He also thought about Lin Rei, but the outcome was the same as his children. As for the remaining people in the Donglai Pavilion, the devourer didn't care about them. He glanced at the children of Shadow, then left in a flash, disappearing from the eyes of the world. The children stayed in Salt City for a period of time. Seeing that there was no trace of Lin Rei, they finally returned to the Xuanzong sect according to his wishes. Lin Rei followed the instructions given to him by Shadow and summoned all the cultivators of the Xuanzong sect from all over the divine realm. There were many planes in the universe, so many that you couldn't count them all. And in the corner of the outermost region of the universe, there was a very unremarkable plane floating. The Destiny Plane, a plane that revered martial strength. In this plane, empires were established by martial strength, and duchies were established by martial strength. However, the power of duchies was much smaller than empires. Furthermore, duchies were dependent on empires to survive. This was the eastern part of the Destiny Plane. There was a duchy here, and at the edge of this duchy, there was a city called Lian City. In the backyard of the Lin family, a 3 to 4-year-old child was playing happily with a group of people who seemed to be servants. His face was brimming with smiles. Perhaps because he was too young, his clothes were completely soaked after playing for a while. Young Master Lei, come and catch us. Come quickly, we are here. Yes, young Master Lei, come quickly, we are here. The servants were standing in the surroundings, happily playing with the child in the middle. Aya, I don't want to play anymore. You are bullying me. Suddenly, the child took off the gauze covering his eyes and showed an unwilling expression. The child was small to begin with, and coupled with his angry look, the 3 servants around him liked their young master even more. The Lin family was very famous in the entire Yen country. After all, the old man of the Lin family was the most famous general in the entire duchy. Although he had retired, his prestige was still outside. The child was officially the only son of the Lin family for 3 generations, and his name was Lin Rei. At this moment, if Bing and Ing saw the child playing happily with a group of people here, they would definitely not recognize that this was their husband, the saint who could control the life and death of others with a raise of his hand. Moreover, the 2 women would not believe that Lin Rei would be in such a low-level plane. It could be said that this plane was not even as strong as the profound sky continent. Here, the martial realm was divided into body tempering, martial artist, martial master, martial grand master, martial general, martial king, martial emperor, martial ancestor, martial saint, and finally, martial god. The martial emperor and martial ancestor were fine, but the martial saint and martial god had not appeared in Tianming continent for a long time. In the Yan country, cultivators with strong mouths were only martial kings, and there were only 2 of them, both from the imperial family. As for martial generals, there were many of them, and they were all great generals of the Yan country. For example, the old man of the Lin family, Lin Tian, was a true martial general expert. At this moment, in the courtyard, Lin Rei was sulking. A madam came from the side and looked at Lin Rei. The madam was startled and said, "Ah, what happened to our Lin Rei? Why are you unhappy? Mother?" Lin Rei, who was sulking, heard this familiar voice and turned around. The originally bitter smile disappeared and was replaced with a face full of smiles. He jogged all the way to the madam's side and jumped into her arms. "Mother, I don't want to play anymore. I want to go out and play. I want to play with other children, okay? Acting spoiled was generally a child's specialty and also a unique skill. Unfortunately, it did not work on the madam. No. Why? Seeing his mother reject him without thinking, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. He still remembered that his mother, Huiyun, doted on him the most. He did not know when it started, but his movements were restricted. He could not go to this, he could not go that, he could not move this, and he could not move that. This made him very depressed. He was helpless. There was no other way. Just like this, he was treated like a national treasure. Even if the old man pulled out all of his beard, the old man only smiled and did not do anything. If the outside world knew that a martial general-level powerhouse had his beard pulled out by a child, it would probably cause an uproar. No reason. In any case, you can't go anywhere. As she spoke, Huiyun said to the attendant beside her, "Come, bring the young master back to his room. Remember, you can't let him go anywhere. Especially today, you can't even let him out of the room. Remember?" "Yes, madam." As he spoke, the young man who received the order came forward and carried Lin Rei in his arms. He left and headed towards Lin Rei's room. Interesting. Seeing her family leave, Huiyun felt sad. "Rei, it's not that mother doesn't want you to go out. It's just that your body can't withstand the torment." Ruo Lin should have heard this. He would probably get to the bottom of it. The East Wing was the center of the Lin family. It was originally the old man's residence, but for some reason, it was vacated for Lin Rei to move in. At first, Lin Rei had some doubts, but later he understood. He moved in to watch over him and not let him go anywhere. However, for a child, he could think of all kinds of ways to play. Ever since he was grounded by his family, Lin Rei began his escape plan. 1 year. In 1 year, he knew the changing times of the guards in the residence, the changing times of the attendants, all the uncles in the family, and even the old man's schedule. Not for anything else, but to be able to leave this home that made him unhappy. And today, the opportunity came. He could feel the stifling feeling in the residence. It was different from usual, and there seemed to be more guards than usual. The opportunity has come. In the room, Lin Rei leaned his head against the window and watched the situation outside. A smile appeared on his face as he thought of a plan. He randomly went to the wardrobe and started rummaging around. That's not right. I remember that I hid my clothes in here last time. Where did they go? He rummaged left and right, but there was nothing. This made Lin Rei anxious. This was a good opportunity, and he didn't want to waste time. Forget it. I'm not young anymore. I don't believe that I can't run away from home without clothes. He angrily turned around and went to the window with his back facing the backyard. He reached out and grabbed the window frame. With a little force from his forearm, a small hole that only he could squeeze through appeared. This young master has the foresight to open a hole here. Otherwise, today wouldn't have happened. After saying that, Lin Rei didn't stay and left the Lin family. He left the cage that he always wanted to leave. Although Lin Rei looked like he was only 3 or 4 years old, he was actually 5.5 years old. For some unknown reason, Lin Rei's body was very weak after he was born. His body was as thin as firewood, and he had a sickly appearance. It was also because of this that the entire Lin province activated the highest level of response. At all times, they watched Lin Rei and didn't allow him to leave home. It was as if they were afraid that something dangerous would happen if he came alone. At this moment, Lin Rei was walking on the streets of Liancheng City. It was as if he had released his natural instincts. Walking on the streets, he didn't have any of the etiquette at home. Moreover, the pale complexion on his face was also a little better. Perhaps it was because he was in high spirits after a happy occasion. Walking on the streets of Liancheng City that he had been looking forward to for a long time, Lin Rei, who had been locked up at home for many years, felt that everything he saw was very novel. Even if it was a woman's rouge, face powder, or jewelry, Lin Rei wouldn't let it go. When Ruolin's family saw that their child was so happy, they probably regretted their previous decision. However, they did that in order to protect Lin Rei. So, little bastard, are you tired of living? You actually dared to steal from my Zishuan hall. Do you know how the word death is written? Do you know who opened this Zishuan hall? At this time, a noisy voice came from the front. Lin Rei, who just happened to pass by, heard the noise in front of him. A touch of interest floated in his heart. His small figure quickly rushed forward and squeezed into the crowd. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.